Esa niña no se aguanta. Hey, quiere todo porque sabe. And we're back. We're back. Confetti's still on the screen.
Hey,
and we're back.
That's how you know it's going to be a good podcast.
I'm dead. Look at the beans. Yo, guys, wrong app right now. The beans are in the chat. Yo, you guys, listen. Not now. We're talking serious.
Talking to the main.
Kinda. You know. I know. We're with the main right now.
Like, shh, hide in the back.
I'm dead. That's what it's like. Stuck in the closet. It's hard to know. We got the day ones in this bitch. Like, come on, guys. We gotta know. We gotta know what the fuck we're doing here. No, but listen, we're gonna have Chris here. We're gonna talk about some immigration stuff, and also just in general, we're gonna talk about just what's going on in the country and everything. We're also, let's have a little bit of fun because I know those type of topics could get a little bit like, strong and stuff. So I don't know. Let's have a little bit of fun. What the fuck should we do? Ito, talk to us.
Oh my gosh.
Fifol in the house.
Aww.
And there he is.
What's up?
Ito's on screen, y'all. If you're on TikTok and you haven't seen, Ito's on screen.
Ito's on the screen.
How you feeling, brother? Somebody said stripes is your thing.
Really?
Mm-hmm. They liked your stripe shirt.
Right now?
On TikTok earlier when we were over there. Yeah, when you were talking about the caterpillars that are going through things.
What it keeps moving, that caterpillar? Like,
everybody got different ideas. My brother said it was a cocoon that looked like a poop. Alyssa said it's a caterpillar. I thought it looked like a lizard. I was like, what the fuck?
A lizard?
You didn't look at it close?
It moved from where it was the other day, but I think now it's locked in because it's a cocoon now.
So it was a caterpillar, half cocoon?
It was still like getting into shape.
Yeah. But I think now it's not moving no more. So it's gonna be like 10 days, and then it'll be a butterfly. So hopefully we catch that.
Aww.
I'm a big beautiful butterfly.
I love that. Somebody was saying today how they like nature vibes, but they don't like rats or like stuff like that. And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, technically, none of us like who's sitting here like, hell yeah, we want to see like vermin and rodents and shit. Like, nah. But at the same time, when you buy a big property or when you buy ranch property or when you buy whatever, you got to know what the fuck you're signing up for. Mm-hmm. I don't like spiders. I'm not going to grab one, but I'm going to call my girl and she's going to get it. Right?
I guess. If you're not going to get it.
You're the one that grabbed the spider when we were in, where were we, Seattle?
I think we were in Seattle. And we're getting into the room. And
there's a fucking spider.
There's a freaking spider this big next to the door. And all I hear is her scream.
I jumped on the bed.
Oh my God, what? And she's like, there's a spider. And she screamed so loud that someone from the front desk heard and came to the room.
Yeah, and they were minimizing my feelings.
Just like,
they
where
were
is
like,
it?
Calm down.
Oh, okay. And then I'm just like, but then like killed it, but just left the remnants of it. And I was like, you're not gonna get that.
Not only that, but it's like he's acting like it's not that big a deal that a humongous spider is there. I'm like, this doesn't make me feel very safe about your hotel if you just think this is an everyday fucking thing.
Yeah, they're like, that's spider. Yeah, it's okay.
They're like, that's a small one. I'm like, bitch, what?
He would
give me a refund.
But he kind of was like it was an inconvenience. He was just like, oh, is that what you're talking about? And I was like
if it's not your job,
you just have random spiders in your house just hanging out that doesn't worry you?
I'm dead. Hell no, I can't do bugs that always attack me in the zoo. Yeah, I don't know, man. Animals are. You will validate your feelings here, Snow. Yes, everybody tell me spiders suck. He said never kill spiders. I don't know. I don't like to kill spiders. I don't like to kill any bugs that crunch. Yeah. Now, mind you, if it's something that like it's like me or you type shit, like, or it's like it's gonna hurt someone from our family, yes, I'm not gonna be like Spider-Man that let the bad guy go and then he killed his grandpa or whatever the story was. Oh, whatever it was. It was his uncle. It wasn't even his grandpa.
Yeah, his uncle, right?
Why do he live with his uncle?
He lived with his aunt and his
the
uncle.
Monkey's his uncle.
Aunt May and Uncle something. What?
The Monkey's his uncle on the star in Lion King.
Mm-hmm. And they say it twice in the Lion King.
Yeah, and.
A monkey's uncle.
Yeah.
And I'm a monkey's uncle.
Yeah. And then they talk about puffy parties in Madagascar. We learned that from Ito.
Ito showed it to us.
Yeah. Oh, and somebody said, I guess I could pull that up. in School of Rock, they say something about who's your favorite rapper? Puff Daddy?
Oh.
Bruh.
Puff Daddy?
Hell no. Oh, hell no.
Papa Diddy Pop. I mean, at the time, Puff Daddy was like the, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like at the time.
It's just funny that it
Remember when he was in that and he was like, Puffy, P. Diddy Pop, Papa Diddy Pop? What video was that?
Papa Diddy Pop.
That's what he said. That was the whole thing, right? It was like Papa Diddy Pop. Ben Stiller. What the motherfuckers one?
wow, yeah.
Meet the Fockers,
Oh,
motherfuckers.
was Ben Stiller? Meet the fuckers? The motherfucker ones.
The motherfucker ones, whatever.
I'm dead.
They said Homeboy's mic is a bit low. Homeboy is
Yeah, it's just hard for me
Homeboy
to
Ito.
gauge the sound because then it's my own. But all right, turning it up.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a little
Too loud for you?
little too much.
All right.
Are you happy
test.
now? Sounds good.
It's just hard. Yeah, it's hard to tell. That's what happens a lot of times when somebody's right here. I hear them pretty loud, so it's hard for me to tell. But I guess that's what those bigger headphones are for.
These?
Yeah.
You don't say, as someone who constantly has trouble with audio. You don't say. It's difficult. Oh, this?
No, I know it's difficult.
First thing you do when you start a band is talk about your influences. That's how you figure out what kind of band you want to be. So who do you like? Blondie.
Christina Aguilera.
Who? No. Come on. What? You, shortstop.
Puff Daddy.
Wrong.
Wrong.
That's true. Wrong.
Wrong.
That's funny.
I'm dead.
I mean, that was even wrong back then because.
Yeah, he wasn't. He was never really like a rapper.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of knew that he didn't like write his own raps or anything. Like they just
Yes.
wrote for him.
Oscar said, future pod guest Jack Black. Bro, when
For
Jack Black
real,
is on the
that'd be so
podcast, bro,
cool.
come on. Come on. Are we manifesting Jack Black for the
Hell
pod?
yeah.
I mean, so yeah,
He speaks Spanish too.
I know. And he loves
Yeah.
Mexicans.
Yeah,
Or he loves Mexico.
grew up here, right? He grew up in LA or
I
something.
believe so. I don't know. But I do think who was it that I was talking to somebody and I was like, well, maybe it is. Maybe me not reaching high enough is my problem. Cuz they were like, who's your dream collab? And I was like, honestly, I don't even think of that because I don't want to disappoint myself. But then I guess that kind of like limits what you could even do, huh?
I agree.
Damn.
You should
just
that's,
letting that
that's
low
gonna be your
self-esteem get to you.
that's gonna be your homework for tonight. Think of who would be your dream collab, and then it can be a goal. You never know. A month, 2, 3, 4, a year from now, all of a sudden, you thought you couldn't do it, and you did it.
Dang. That's crazy.
You were the Mariah Carey in the room. That's
Right.
close enough. That's
I
pretty
was
close.
near Mariah Carey, man.
You
That's
breathe the same
crazy.
air as
the Mariah Carey.
the Mariah Carey.
That's insane.
Yeah.
You said Jack Black grew up in Orange County and his mom worked for NASA. What the fuck?
Oh shit, that's
Oh,
dope.
damn. That's cool. My mom worked at a bakery. Bitch,
My mom
good bread.
helped old people.
Nice.
She was a home health aide.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Now my mom does that type of stuff. The lady that my mom takes care of, she just be drinking wine,
Hey,
you know, vibing,
Period.
listening to classical music.
Period.
She listens to classical
Sounds
music
like a
and she
blasty
drinks
blast.
wine. Well, I guess she was like a violinist, like a super violin, like famous, like not
that's
super famous,
awesome.
but she was in a big orchestra and like she's got like a lot of history and like that music. So now she just be in her really old age. She's like 99 years old, just vibing, drinking wine every day, listening to classical music. That's a vibe,
Period.
you know? Walking around the house.
Yeah.
Which classical music, I mean, you know, not to be on some like aging, but it's like I do think that you appreciate it more as you
get
grow up.
older.
Yeah,
If there's one type of music that ages you, it'll be classical music.
That's true.
yeah.
I mean, can you name 5 classical?
No, test guy. Can you?
For release.
Oh my God!
I
No,
know one.
that's a song.
No,
is
is the song like
Oh yeah, they said that.
That's the melody, no?
What's his name? One of those guys that was deaf.
Bach, Beethoven, one of the two,
Yeah.
something.
One of those that he was deaf and he would put a rod like in his mouth or something to like his jaw, and then put it on the piano, the other end, and then he
Like
would
to feel the vibration?
vibrations, and that's
That's
how he would hear.
Crazy.
Jesus.
Oh, how did he come up with that? He's like, you know what? I'm gonna put that in my tooth. I'm gonna feel it in my tooth. That's how. Like,
He
that's
wanted to hear that
crazy.
bad, or like he wanted to like make music that bad, bro. You know
That's
what? That's a new
commitment.
inspiration. I can make music,
Yup.
and I'll be sitting there in my room depressed, like I don't want to make no music.
Like,
Nobody
there's
cares.
deaf
And there's
people
a
out
guy
here
that can't
that
hear.
made music.
Put a rod in his fucking mouth to be able to feel the vibrations, to be able to
Beethoven.
create. And I'm here like I don't want to turn my laptop on.
Yeah, the music just flows. to
You
your
guys don't
ears.
like it. As my freaking entertainment attorney is in here,
Oh,
she's literally
Margie's
like,
here?
work on some fucking music. Just kidding, y'all. That's not her legal advice to work on some fucking music. She doesn't cuss at me. I wish she would though. Who called my bullshit recently? Oh yeah, those guys that were here yesterday. I was like, nice. I like this. Yell at me. You know, I don't know. People, contrary to popular belief, like I don't like when people comment it publicly. But if somebody DMs me and is like, Snow, I'm gonna tell you the truth. The fuck?
Is wrong.
I'm gonna be like,
Get it together.
you know what? You're right. I'm into it. Let's do it. What do you need me to do? You know? I don't know. I talked to my therapist today. Maybe that's why I feel lighter. I feel better. I didn't realize. Like the first sentence today with my therapist was good. And then from that to what the last 30 minutes were, I was like, damn, how she did this?
The first sentence was good.
Oh, she
Like
asked,
she was
how's
like,
everything?
how's everything? Yeah.
Good.
Pretty good.
And she
Everything's
just went. She just probably went like that. Okay, so because she's like, I know everything's not just good.
Well, her birthday's one day before mine. So she was like, happy birthday. And I was like, happy birthday.
Ah,
I know. But yeah. And then yeah, it was just like a lot of it's what's interesting about therapy sessions is that they do always kind of start with like good, except for there's been a few where like it was an emergency one and I'm like, bitch, I'm fucking falling apart, what the fuck? And then you feel good. But there's some that are just like, you're good. And then I'm like, damn, I haven't talked to you since this. So then I'm like, oh, this happened. And
So
then
you
this
kinda
happened. That happened.
Kind of revisit those things and
Well,
those
especially-
feelings and stuff.
Yeah, well, especially because by now I've figured out what certain things were, but other things I'm like, I don't know, I'm not a professional. Like, you tell me what the heck was that. Then she'll like explain it or whatever. Because she was saying, I was talking about how angry, like how it feels to be angry right now in this climate and like everything that's going on. And she was like, that anger is a secondary emotion and that maybe sometimes it comes from sadness. And I was like, absolutely it comes from sadness. It's fucking sad what's happening right now, not only to our people but to the entire, you know, country as we know it, and also in turn globally. Not that it hasn't already been sad, because it always has been, I guess, but it's like now we're really getting to levels that I didn't think I'd see coming. And then that's also the problem, is that some people, I feel like some people are judging it for what it is right now. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people that are like, you're tripping, or like, what are you talking about? They're at face value right now. They're like, I walked outside my house, everything's normal. And it's like, you're not understanding the repercussions that this will have for democracy as we know it, mind you, for its good and its bad, whatever made us feel safe in this country at that time, at the expense of whoever that was globally, like, because we know that our quote unquote freedom and democracy and peace in this country came at the expense of so many other people, a lot of times our own home countries. But it's just so crazy to be at a place now where it's like, bro, what this can look like in 6 months, what this can look like in a year, what this can look like in a decade is a new fucking unprecedented level that it's never been here. You used to be like, okay, if ICE is coming, there are certain rules. And that's why, and I wish Chris was here because I'm already starting the fucking podcast without him. But my conversation with Chris was, I don't want to fucking hear what to do when ICE shows up. They're not listening. It doesn't matter that you stand out there and like, where's the warrant? Where's the warrant? Where's the warrant? I mean, yes, of course, we're still going to do it. But are they still violating everybody? Or is he still doing fucked up? They have a fucking alligator fucking Alcatraz. Alligator Alcatraz. It sounds literally like a fucking Dr. Evil movie.
It sounds like something from a movie.
Like, this is stupid. But this is our reality. Our reality is, well, we're going to put them in some cages and then there's going to be alligators around them. What the fuck are we talking about? What are we talking about right now? You feel me? So it's like walking up to somebody and being like, well, give me your badge. I'm like, yeah, these motherfuckers don't got badges.
They don't care.
And you can't even post them and say that they're fake cops because then they might sue you. Bitches, pussies. Sorry. Who said that?
What? I didn't hear
That was an echo.
I didn't
Somebody
hear
on TikTok said
What?
it.
Yeah. Damn it. You.
It's crazy, bro. It's just getting to a point. Look, they can't do that. And they still are. And they fucking are. That's the problem. The problem right now is, well, legally, you're not allowed to. Yeah.
don't
Guess what? They
care.
don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck and nobody's fucking stopping them.
The amount of things leading up to now that they've gotten away with, they've slowly been like, how about this? Nothing. Okay, cool. How about this? Nothing? Okay, cool. How about this?
Right.
Nothing? Like, to this point. Then this is now the point where they're like, I'm not even tiptoeing. I'm just gonna full on fucking do it. They don't care anymore because we've let them do it, do anything they wanted up to this point. And now they're just gonna take the reins and fucking run and just do whatever the fuck they want to do.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's so frustrating.
It's like, for example, I mean, the woman that they kept alive to grow the baby, pull that up. The pregnant woman that they kept alive just enough time to keep the baby, to see what can happen. That is in life, that is just a trial. That is guinea pigging people, human beings, experimenting. It is, it would have been, if you would have asked 6 years ago, where we're at right now, would not even be able to be in question, right? Like we would not even be like, no, there's going to be this alligator Alcatraz. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. There's going to be bodies floating with shackles and that never made it to their home country. And there is a huge possibility that because they suppressed the satellite at the exact same time when the plane was where apparently it would have been in order to, once you check how the water would have moved and where the bodies ended up, exactly around where we think they would have been dropped off at, there was magically suppression in the satellite. You would not think that the government is picking up people, dropping them off in the middle of the ocean and forgetting about it and making a U-turn and coming back. You would be like, no way. But it's happening. So now when you think of they're guinea pigging people, human beings with what they're doing, and then they're locking up people, how far-fetched is it that they will just take some of those people that are locked up and try things on them? Trials, medical trials, big pharma. Where are we right now? Knowing what big pharma is capable of doing, knowing what billionaires are capable of doing, knowing what this government is capable of doing, what is off the reign of the potential right here? Look at this.
Yeah.
Baby of brain dead pregnant woman kept alive under abortion law has been delivered, family says. The family was saying not to do this.
Yeah. She was not even in her first trimester or something. And they decided to keep her alive because, on the machine, because technically she was brain dead, until the baby was born. They had to go in and deliver the baby early because she was not alive. She was brain dead. They literally had to scoop the baby out.
But by the way, that one fucking politician that needed to get an abortion because she had an ectopic pregnancy or whatever, she was able to make a few calls and get an abortion.
Tell them that I'm good.
It's all for sale. Mind you, somebody just said, unfortunately, this is how it's always been. Yes, but it's always been hidden. And not to say that that's better, but at least when it has to be hidden and suppressed and everything because people can't, it's a small amount of people and we're still fighting for that. Well, we were supposed to be fighting for that. I thought the good guys were fighting against all this bullshit. I didn't know they were just going to eventually let it all. So now we're not dealing with, there's a little bit of cases, it's hidden, people are, under all this. No. Now they're bringing it out. And imagine how dangerous that becomes. Mm-hmm. When now Trump is saying homegrowns, now he's saying Americans. There's some Americans that should get taken out to somewhere else. Now you're playing with fire because now who the fuck? So who could it be? I wonder who. I wonder if it's gonna be white Americans or it's gonna be us. I had to have that conversation with my son. I was like, "You're 3 years away from being 18." I'm like, "You're brown." I had to really put it on the table for him because I have to be like, understand why it's important for you to know. You feel me? Because I have a kid that right now, honestly, to be honest, a 15-year-old doesn't necessarily have to be too stressed about these things because he's a 15-year-old. He's a minor. He has parents. It is our job to protect him, right? But letting him know why he needs to know this stuff, letting him know, hey, you need to speak both languages because then you have options. You need to know where you're from. You need to know Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Mexico because then you have options of where you are from, where your ancestors are from, where your family's from, where you can go. You need to have options of every single thing because you are a brown man in the United States. White people don't have to have those conversations with their kids. We do. If you're in a fucking car with a bunch of people, remember you are going to be a brown man for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. You need to know this shit. We have to have these conversations with our children. And you know what's really fucking crazy? Unrelated to that? Well, no, very related. On TikTok right now, look at those two fucking TikTokers from Houston that shot that kid. Look at what our kids are watching, bruh. I'm not gonna say my kid was watching them because honestly, they're fucking idiots. But who knows? He likes sports stuff, thank God. But all those little fucking Edgars with the stupid stuff and going to the mall and ripping things up and throwing things and being stupid and doing stupid shit, stupid prizes. Now look at them in prison because they shot somebody and they're literally like, that's it. That's a wrap. All them people that were watching you, all them people that were egging them on, all that stupid shit, they were hanging out with the Astrovinos of the world and all that shit and everybody in the comments and in the chats. I understand that it's all fun and games until it's fucking not. Understand that your kids, when you're hard at work and you're dealing with your baby daddy or your husband or your this or your that or your drama or you're going to the club or whatever, your kids are on their fucking phone. Who are they watching? What are they doing? Mm-hmm. They're interacting with that type of shit. That shit is feeding more of this type of shit. And there's going to be more of this to come. And guess what? When they start saying, these are the type of people we need to get rid of, they're going to start pulling those fucking people up. Mm-hmm. Because once they're out of all the immigrants, right? Once they're out of all the undocumented immigrants, they're going to move on to who? Their children. They're going to move on to the Americans that are directly related to the big criminals that they're deporting, which most of them don't even have a rap sheet. Now they're going to move on to the Mexican Americans, right? And then they're going to show the videos. They're going to show the videos. They're going to show that picture with the Mexican flag and the fire behind them. They're going to show the fucking guys that are killing people, that are doing all this. They're going to show the TikToks of them destroying stuff. They're going to show that in order to show why they need to get rid of who. It's just, it all goes hand in hand. Social media, bro, tell me about it. I was on my therapy call today and I'm just like, it's all hand in hand, bro. It's all of it. What we're going through, social media, what they're feeding our kids, what we're not fucking doing, they're keeping us busy, so we're so stressed out that we barely can stay afloat, and then we ain't worried about the kids, and then they're going over there and seeing some other stupid shit, and at the end of the day, the concentration camps are just gonna keep on growing and growing and growing until they actually have some for Americans.
I don't know. A lot of people have been shot.
I'm telling my brother to look up people
they're
who
from
just
Houston?
shot. They're from Texas. I don't know. What are their names, guys? Two little Edgars. I got a fucking headache just thinking about this shit.
I don't know.
They did the shooting?
Yeah, they shot. They shot a
did
kid.
okay. Mm-hmm. So they both were involved.
Shooting.
Yo, know what I'm saying? Guzman.
That's the kid's name?
Last name. Marcos and Guzman.
Oh.
I know it's Guzman, but I don't know why lately I've been saying things really.
Guzman.
I have a song I just recorded today where it's like I pronounce the word mariachi instead of mariachi. But I was like, you know what? For some reason, I'm gonna do this, and the song is hard as fuck. I'm telling you, I rapped.
You're like, I rapped so good.
No, from the from finding the loop to making the beat to rapping it to making the beat with how I was rapping. Oh no, this is gonna be one of them. This is one of them.
Hilly.
This is one of them. Like
they said Guzman and Marco.
Rapping my motherfucking ass off. Drink some water. Yeah. Can I get some water, babe?
Yeah.
Technically, I did ask for water first, and I was handed a
I'm
beer.
dead.
Cause hearing. Now, we did learn new
maybe I'm
details
not-
tonight. Of
Oh.
course, that those details came
Okay,
from court
cool.
documents, and tonight
Yeah.
a judge will decide if there's enough evidence to move forward. Tonight, a second suspect is now in custody, charged in the death of 30-year-old Anthony Sanders, a Marine veteran, father, and fiancé.
this person?
According to court records, 22-year-old Dustin Guzman turned himself in Monday. He joins 23-year-old Marco Sinan, who was arrested last week. Sanders' parents, both retired from the Army, say their son was killed while protecting his family.
Anthony passed away protecting his son and his fiance. That's what he does.
Sanders was killed June 3rd in the Orange Garage at the Galleria. Court records say he was picking up his fiancée when a group of men made comments to her coming down the elevator. She told Sanders, and he drove around until he found them. Both sides exchanged words. Then as they tried to leave, the suspect stopped, and Sanders got out. Guzman, who was in the front passenger seat, and Sinan in the back seat, also got out. The fiancé told police Sinan tapped the crossbody bag and said, "You don't want to mess with me." Then shots were fired. Investigators say bullet holes came from inside the suspect's vehicle, a black Chrysler 300. After the shooting, officers stopped that vehicle nearby. They say 2 shell casings fell from Guzman's lap, and he later told detectives Sanders had a gun, but police say they didn't find one on him. Sanders' family says they want justice for their son.
You know, as a father, this is a great loss for.
Anyway, Chris, you want to come over here because I know she's about to go pick up baby Drew. Not to mention what's going on right now between the Black and the Mexican community or the Latino community. They are we know red pilling is a thing. We know the internet. We know the internet pipeline to start shit. I know what I was promoted during on my For You page and on my algorithm during the protests. I know what I saw. I know what was being specifically targeted to people like me to trigger. I could see it. But at the same time, I've been doing this for long enough and I'm old enough to understand what's happening. But some people aren't, and some people were biting the bait, and some people were getting into those fucking conversations that to me is like, bro, we know what's happening. We know why they're doing it. We got Chris in the building, y'all. Thank you, Missy. You feel me? The hate being pushed is intentional to create division. Absolutely. But you can't. It's like there's so much. And I think that's what it's intended to do, right? It's supposed to make us feel the way we feel and as exhausted as we are. And I told that to Chris because when me and Chris were arguing.
True.
Because we've been arguing.
True.
I was like, yes, but at the end of the day, those of us that have been trying for so fucking hard will, after all these years and all this stress and where we're at, those of us that have been doing that will what? Die off of strokes and heart attacks and fucking, run off and everybody else will just sit here and just follow suit. If the strongest ones of us that have been here for so long are getting to the point where we're on fumes and we're tired or literally health, bro, like mental health is real. Motherfuckers will be like, mental health is real. Don't forget mental health is real until someone's crashing out on the internet because mental health is real and it is so sad. And then the comments are like, oh, what the fuck you mad about now? I thought y'all motherfuckers love to say mental health is real when somebody kills themselves. But when people are here and they're talking about stuff and they're literally trying to talk about it and help out with it, y'all will be like, what you mad about now? Bitch, a lot. You're not mad. You don't feel this. Come on, please. But Chris, go ahead.
My blood is boiling.
Jesus.
And I mean, I'll say just, because we did get into it yesterday. And hopefully we'll get into it now because honestly, for me,
he said he came with notes and ready to beef.
No, not ready to beef. But like to me, at least, maybe it's just 'cause I'm a lawyer, but like, it's also just my philosophy. When you get in an argument with somebody with whom you're really listening and not trying to win the argument, that's where sometimes friction can cause. Anyhow, when you were yelling at me, I was really listening. I wasn't being defensive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But my blood is boiling. I mean, yesterday I had to take time out of my day. I a lot going on, but there, my boss called me and told me that there were 2 17-year-old kids whose mom got picked up in Pasadena, was down at B18, which is the Metro Detention Jail downtown LA by Union Station. They couldn't get her medication. She has heart disease. They're by themselves to begin with. So I went in and, flashed my lawyer card to go in there first to get her medicine. And then I got only 45 seconds with these 2 kids and their mom. And it was like incredibly emotional. And everyone started crying. And the guard like pulls the mom away to take her to Adelanto and then starts like, I'm not even joking, like yelling at the kids and telling them not to cry. Guy was, I think, an Ethiopian immigrant. And I just fucking exploded on him. Like in front of, I was like, dude, don't tell people. I was like, I don't know you, but don't tell people not to cry. Not to cry.
Right.
Like on top of everything you're doing here, don't. And he's like, well, I'm just trying to help. They're trying to be strong. I was like, man, bro, you are not helping.
Right.
But man, I mean, again, it's like this type of shit, you know, and I'm not I've got a good life. I experienced secondary trauma, all that kind of stuff. But man, my blood was fucking boiling after that precise moment. And it's on and on. The Home Depot by my house with the M16s yesterday.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Baby Drew was at the park. He was like, Ice was at the park. Like, that's where we're living in. We're living in Baby Drew's playing football and Ice was at the park. And to them, they're just like, it's crazy. I mean, like, they're kidnapping out here. You feel me? Like, and we're like, because obviously we know not all of them are actual agents. Not all of them know what the fuck they're doing. Some of them look like honestly, when you really look at the videos, you're like, okay, that no way that fucking guy's he's like doing this. You're like, what?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Flores.
Yeah. So, you know, it's one of those things where the reality we're living in right now, like I told you, and I'm talking about my therapy because today I really was talking how there's been 3 different times in the last month where like I'm there and like I get so mad that it's almost like I'm looking at someone, but like reality as it is looks like it's fucking moving. And I'm like, am I jumping fucking quantum? Like, is this spiritual? Is this anger? Is this a new level of, I'm like, what is happening? Because there's no way that there's times where you're here and you have reached such a level of emotion that you're like, and it's shock. It's fucking shock. It's shock and awe. They're doing it. We know it. So sometimes like you do have to decompress and you have to walk away. The fucked up thing for people like us probably is the moment you do walk away, people look at you like, well, look at you. Why are you having a good time? Like, bitch, because I'm going to.
Yeah.
You. Go ahead, Chris.
I moved to LA 20 years ago. And, you know, I used to work in MacArthur Park for 10 years. And if I saw a guy like homeless in front of my office, when I first moved to LA, I would like stop and be like, hey, you know, can I help you with, you know, I don't know when it happened, a couple of years ago. I stopped. Like I just started walking over people because there's so much homelessness. My fear is that, you know, friends of mine, for example, were clicking on Palestine early, and I'm not trying not to get anyone in trouble, but you know, and then at a given point, and then at a given point, people stop. You know, I stopped clicking on the links because it was fucking with my mental health. And a friend of mine, Ernesto Urena, an artist we work with, basically like laid into me and was like, the least you can do is bear witness. And my fear is that I initially thought these raids were going to be quick in LA and then they were going to bounce because they're trying to get back into the jails, which I'll talk about, which is really, I think, the goal policy-wise for what they're doing. I don't think this is going to let up anytime soon. Yeah. And my fear is that people are going to accept this as a new reality. And there's 2 different realities because there's those people that are living incredible fear, terrorized, not able to go to work, not able to buy stuff, I talked to somebody today, couldn't even go to the laundromat. And then there are other people that are just going about their daily lives that I think are just going to start to like just get used to this, you know, and it does wear people down. And maybe that's their coping mechanism. Maybe people have to like, you know, you're not at risk of deportation and you say, I'm just going to stop clicking on this. Like I stopped clicking on Gaza. And that is the thing that scares me. And so then I call people like Snow and I'm like, Snow, we got to do something. And you're like, but what? And then you say to me, like, but nonprofits got to do stuff.
You're like, yeah, it's like, it's not that. It's not only that, because I know you brought up that I yelled at you, and I did. Because when you're like, so no, we got to do something. Like, as I'm literally on 4 other fucking conversations with people, it's like, I know we got to do something. We are doing something. But when we talk, when you were like, oh, the podcast. Yes, of course, podcast. But, and what is our instruction to people? Like, people are listening still. Right. Thank God. We have to give them instructions and help in a way that can be effective, because there's only so many times that you get people before they're going to be just as tired. So I'm like, let's make sure that things are going to be effective, because the people that were supposed to be doing this, the people that collected the money to do this, the organizations, the churches, all those people, the politicians, the Democrats, all of that, all the people that were supposed to be doing it didn't do it. And now it's fucking falling on
the rapper.
A rapper? Like, really? Alligator Alcatraz. People literally were like, what do you think of Alligator Alcatraz? What the fuck do you think I think of Alligator fucking Alcatraz?
stop
One,
saying
it's
it,
fucking
yeah.
stupid. Two, is this real?
We're not going to call concentration camp. I don't know. There's one thing we can accomplish here. We're not going to call fucking concentration camps by whatever name Trump is using. So I'm not even going to say the word, those two A words. It's ridiculous. That's part of the desensitizing. It's, for example, they say detention center. It's not detention center. These are jails. These are prisons. I don't use the word detention. These are jails. And again, nonprofits were involved in, that as well. And there is a lot of blame to go around with the politicians, the nonprofits. There's been a failure of leadership. And if there's one hopeful thing in LA right now, and I don't know what your perspective is, it's that the community is in front of the leaders right now. The community is like, no one knows what to do, but people are trying to show up. And I could name names. I mean, we're not seeing leadership from elected officials.
Name names.
Well, I mean, I got into it with Mayor Karen Bass, who I like, because she, I was involved in drafting California's sanctuary state laws. And at the time, Sheriff Jim McDonnell was the biggest opponent, and in fact was working hand in glove with the Trump administration to oppose the sanctuary state legislation, which by the way, California's sanctuary legislation has stopped more deportations than any other legislation, bar none, in the country in my adult lifetime. And this guy opposed it, and she appointed him to be the LAPD chief. And I warned her. I said, look, number one, Trump is the bigger public safety threat than anything else in Los Angeles. He's going to come invade the city. He's going to try to instill and spark violence as a justification for more repression. And number two, we have to defend the sanctuary policies. LA just got sued yesterday in federal court. And this guy got 8 years of talking bad about our sanctuary policies. He's going to be like a witness for Trump. And she still appointed the guy to be the LAPD chief.
Weren't they talking shit about the whole fire thing? Like what?
And so she fires and again, man, this is me. I'm not going to drink, so I don't get myself in too much trouble.
Yeah.
She fires the gay fire chief because she got some political issues there, but she can't fire the Trump supporting LAPD chief.
So let's put the pressure on it.
I personally, look, the reality is that the LAPD is involved in, we have great policies that, again, I do think it's important to talk to, and I think fans should know about the difference, for example, of protection you have in California versus Texas, vis-a-vis interactions with local police. But no, man, the LAPD have not been good actors in the last couple of weeks. And I'm very, very worried, particularly as the Olympics come, as FIFA comes, that in many ways they want to set into a kind of a new normal where we have people with M16s all around the city. And it's imperative that we not let that happen, because the one thing I do know, 25 years working in immigrant rights, is that the only shield and sword that social justice people of any kind, whether it's gay rights movement, Black Lives Matter, immigrant rights, the streets have to be safe for public protest. And so if they're trying to endanger that, they're trying to wear people down, make it so it feels unsafe to go to protest, you can't bring your kids, that is really, really dangerous. And on that one, the LAPD must be held accountable, because LAPD must defend our right to protest in the next 3.5 years.
They're not doing it.
Not yet. No, they're certainly not.
They're not doing it. And I was even saying that, like, when I had the Stalker Situation and everything that happened, and I'm like calling them, they take an hour and a half to fucking get here, and they question the white man that's stalking me and ask him questions before they talk to me. He was innocent until proven guilty, and I was guilty until proven innocent. I had to prove why he's my stalker when I'm in my own house. I'm telling them, y'all take this long. Next time you're pulling up to pick up a body. And I don't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, as long as you remember what state you live in and that you will be arrested and prosecuted. Well, then fuck you and fuck this state and fuck that guy for sure. Because I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, you get to a point where if you need to defend what's yours, you're going to defend what's yours. And I don't care. And we're going to get to that point at some point in California. And if this girl, fucking Karen Bass or whatever the hell her name is, or whoever the hell doesn't want to fucking stop it, then be ready for what's going to come next, because there will be, first you're shock and awed. First first you're scared, then you start to get like, or some of us freeze, then you start to get mad, then you start to fucking act, and then it gets a little bit crazy. And then that's when this other douchebag is gonna fucking put martial law and say that California is too crazy or whatever the hell. So to me, it's just more like,
he's looking for the first riot
yeah,
as an excuse to do all of it. And so, I mean, I think that is part of it. And you know, I don't begrudge people because, again, one of the things that I've been telling, to the extent that I've been talking to a reporter, the people who are inflicting violence in the city are the cops. It's ICE. It's these vigilante type of people. Honestly, I'm stunned by how peaceful. I'm pleasantly stunned by how peaceful, given the amount of violence we're all witnessing, and they're gonna try to intentionally instill violence.
They are. The first day when the protests were going on, and we were like, because I filmed right before when the car stuff started, right? And I remember being there, and we were sitting down, and we were like, oh hell no! Like the reaction from the people who were there was, nah, don't start with this shit, right? And you start just looking back and you're like, fuck, these motherfuckers are gonna start doing some dumb shit. Why? Because we know, at least as older ones that are there, know that this is what they want. Whereas the little youngins and the stupid people, and then also the people who want to incite things or whatever, it hadn't gotten to that point. Now when we were going over there, you could see the cops trying to start the shit.
100%.
You could see them with you know what I mean?
Listen, we gotta call it like it is. Honestly, when I was a young lawyer in Arizona, when we were protesting and litigating against Sheriff Arpaio, they would send undercover police pretending to be anarchists to start throwing the bottles. That shit happens. And you know what's funny is that the people, like all the Steve Bannon, like the right wing Tucker Carlson people, all they talk about is like false flag this, false flag that. No.
Exactly.
But no one has yet like looked into it. When people say, oh, the kids are like, you know, throwing bottles, I'm like, man, kids? Or is it an undercover police officer? We don't know.
It's both. It's both. I was there. Some of these
both.
little motherfuckers, the same dudes that are doing stupid shit on TikTok, but it's because of why? Because their parents are so fucking busy trying to fucking work and stay afloat and whatever. And some of these kids just are looking for, you know, we've all done dumb shit when we were little kids. So we'd see somebody else, the first bottle might be thrown by some false flag ass motherfucker, but the little fucking 13-year-old that's out there just trying to start some shit might do it.
And they know how to throttle that shit. So they use people as useful idiots. And that's the first thing, a bit of advice. Don't be a useful idiot. Don't just be like carrying someone else's message. Don't be carrying someone else's, fake truth or whatever they call it nowadays. But I did at some point, I see the comments stuff. I mean, I don't want to take for granted that people know what to do. And to me, like the very first thing is, it's like when they tell you in the airplane, you put the gas mask on yourself first and then you help your family. And I really do think that there are people that don't yet know how to take steps to protect them and their families. And so to the extent that you or others have questions, I think it's one thing to start there. People who are in the most vulnerable today, and I agree with you that everyone's vulnerable tomorrow. The whole notion is people of color are guilty until proven innocent under Trump. I mean, that is it. Whether you're Kelmar Abrego Garcia, whether you're someone with TPS, or whether it's Black Lives, whatever the case may be. But you start with yourself, and then I think the thing that I wanted to kind of get into with you is what do we do?
He's like, the beef I'm bringing.
The beef? No, we're bringing.
I'm joking. We're on the same side, which again, that brings up a good point. The infighting that sometimes happens in a lot of it gets a little detail oriented, and then all of a sudden be like, you make a comment like about like immigration, and they're like, well, are you denying gay rights or whatever? And it's like, no, hold on, we're not talking about that. And then they'll be like, well, the Black community. I'm like, yes, of course, also, but like we're talking about like specifically the immigration stuff, like we all need to because of this. And it's like the same thing happened when Black Lives Matter was happening, right? Black Lives Matter was happening, we were out there at the protest, everything, and then people were saying, well, what about Mexicans? And they were like, it's not your fight right now, please stay back and let's just help the Black Lives Matter. Okay, cool, we're all there. But then now when this is happening, it's like, well, it's not our fight. Wait, hold on. I thought we're all supposed to be in the same. And that's why I was saying on the algorithms and stuff that I was seeing, they were really pushing that narrative of posts, like a lot of the posts and a lot of the conversations that were, are we sitting this one out? And that's why I was saying like, okay, if you are, that's totally fine, but don't start those conversations where we know that it's going to be, the comments are going to be fucking crazy. Like that's exactly what they fucking want. they want us to be arguing within ourselves, because guess what? This will affect everybody. Right now, they're testing how far they can take it with undocumented people. Then they're first with the criminals, right? First with the criminal undocumented, right? Then the not criminals undocumented.
Oh,
then
they've sailed past
right.
that. I mean,
Then-
they're not looking for criminals.
Then the people who are documented but are not born here. Then the children of the people that were undocumented that were born here and trying to test that. Then Americans. So by the time that you realize when it is gonna finally affect, who's gonna be there to fight with you? Because guess what? A lot of us motherfuckers are gonna be at a point where we're like, it's getting, and that's where me and him sometimes get into it. I'm Mexican. My family's in Mexico. The majority of my family's in Mexico. My dream has always been to go back to Mexico. That is it. That's where I draw the line. When my Mexican Americanness and our Mexican American fight could affect Mexico, which they already wanted to, when they start saying words like terrorism, right? To say the CTEL, when they've always known that organized crime is everywhere and it's even in the United States, but when they start saying words like terrorists, or they start saying words like fentanyl being a weapon of mass destruction, or whatever the fuck Stephen Miller idiot ass is saying, when they start saying stuff like that, when they start saying words like drone strike and strategic gutting, that's when it starts to scare me of like, hold on, let's not give them more ammunition to start already painting Mexico as somewhere they can potentially have some sort of war zone, because now you're fucking with.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
You feel me?
And
Like,
he mentioned it last time, first term, and he threatened to bomb. He's still threatening during the
said
campaign.
Mexico is an enemy.
Yeah, that's right.
They said Mexico is an enemy. We have reached the point where now to say words like Mexico is an enemy, when at the end of the day, they used to say that Canada was an ally and Mexico and all of them, and we're here and we have these trade like things. Now, Mexico's an enemy and they have organization and they have terrorism. Don't forget, these are the words that they use to go into the Middle East. Don't forget, these are the words that they go destroy whole fucking communities, whole cities, and then they walk out, they go ransack everything, dip the fuck out, and what's left?
Yeah.
I'm protective of the poor people that have never even stepped foot in the United States. So why should they have to suffer for the things that people in the United States are trying to do? That's why I was so mad with that fucking picture with the flag, with the Mexican flag. To this day, proved to me that was-not a white guy. Please.
This is maybe where you and I begin to disagree. I think Mexico, look, I think that the leaders have failed across the board, and that ultimately is undergirding even the most, I guess, innocent Trump support is like, oh, let's try something new with this reality TV guy or whatever, because leaders have failed across the board. And we're certainly seeing a failure of leadership in LA right now. I mean, there have not been senators or politicians distinguishing themselves. I kind of think, and maybe I'm wrong, and I'm jaundiced with all politicians, but I kind of think Mexico's got a good leader right now. And in general, I mean, and very popular. I think she's like, but the other thing is, anyone who knows Mexico knows that Sheinbaum, like, she knows the type of Trump. Like, if you're a politician in Mexico, like, people like Trump. Like, so I think she's playing multiple different directions.
But I think to assume that Trump isn't that he's not an emotional person that might make a stupid decision would be. I'm not scared that there's this big plan that's gonna go perfectly and then all of a sudden, no. I'm scared that this dude is too emotional and that they have too much access to too much stuff to do some fuck shit that by the time they realize it's a mistake, a whole city could be taken out. It's the how fragile this man's ego and how easy it is to fuck up that scares me. Well, it's not that he gets on the call and likes Claudia Sheinbaum. I know he likes her. I know he gets on the call and he's like, oh, very wonderful lady. She's just scared of the, whatever. Yeah, but what can they do?
No. I mean, I think I'll one up you. I think he's a psychopath, and I think Steve Miller is a sociopath. And so I don't think it's fruitful to figure out what their motivations are.
And I want to know what cholo bullied Stephen Miller in Santa Monica, or what happened, because that motherfucker hates Mexicans.
That's exactly what happened.
I want to know and I know he was a bully. I know Stephen Miller was a bully, and he tried it, and he probably se topó con alguien, and he tried to bully someone, and that somebody probably beat his ass, probably happened to be Mexican, and now 100%. We're all paying for the price
100%.
of Stephen Miller being a fucking idiot. Because at the end of the day, even his family, isn't his family Democrats?
mean, he's Jewish.
Look at-
I mean, look, obviously the system failed him because obviously he was that kid who should have been pulled out of class and like sent to some kind of like mental
Stephen
health.
Miller is the bad guy in Toy Story. What was his name? Sid?
Oh man, he's the guy is. I think he's a sociopath. I think he's an undiagnosed sociopath. I think had we had like an adequate mental health system in Santa Monica public schools at the time, I mean, for sure he was bullied. For sure he probably had a crush on some Latina, all of those things, and then somehow something snapped. But that guy is not, he's not well, and I don't think it's possible to kind of put yourself in his mind and figure out what's motivating him. And I agree. I think the name of the game is in the next 3 years avoiding calamity. I mean, because it feels like a calamity, whether it's in Mexico, whether it's in Iran, is it going to be another disease? And we have lunatics in charge and reality TV stars and all this kind of stuff. But it's also like avoiding calamity in your own personal life. And there are things that people can do, that communities can do to protect themselves.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and look, to the person that's saying Democrats are use immigrants, bro, this is so far beyond Republicans and Democrats. I don't give a fuck. Like, so many times when I post something about immigration and everything, so many men, by the way, I didn't realize how big of a white fan base I had until lately, that so many angry white men who used to be fans hate me so much, like to the point where I've been the threats, the way that they talk to me, the way because obviously my posts from Instagram go over to Facebook. That is where it all started coming over here. And I started seeing the despise that some people get. And they're like, I used to be a fan, but now you're all into fucking immigration, blah, blah. Where have you been? Like, Are you fucking kidding me? The fact that now it's a hot topic for you and that you're getting fed a different algorithm than I am, so you're mad, so you think I'm wrong for showing you the facts. By the way, I try to repost facts. Like if I'm like just little, whatever, even like he could give me advice of like, hey, if I'm close to being like, hey, you're in fucking lawsuit territory, I'm like, hey, because I understand. But I try my best to just at least get eyes on the information in case your algorithm isn't showing you this, hey, check this out. To my own fucking like detriment, by the way, because a lot of times that's why my accounts are suppressed. People are like, damn, Snow, you fell off. Yeah, motherfucker, I'm posting things that make my account be suppressed. Yep. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. But it needs to be seen because I'm scared for where we're going with everything. Thank God my phone just fucking died, by the way, because Jesus. People on TikTok were triggering me. That was like, my attention's bad. But yeah. We're in a weird place where there's like so many prongs to this. I know we have the immigration stuff that you obviously we want to fight for and talk about. We have California, we have the United States as a whole, we have then globally. I have the Mexico stuff, which I'm like, yo, don't start fucking with that. That's the closest I've gotten to having a fucking breakdown was when you start getting into the Mexico stuff, because I'm like, I know the weapons we have. I know what we can do. I know what we've done to other countries. This is sad. This is fucking sad. So I'm angry.
I'm angry too. And then the question is, like, what do you do? Because again, I've been working in immigrant rights. I work for a great organization. I'm proud of it. With the little we do a lot. It's very hard every day to think of how to spend my 14 hours of work. Like where do you put the energy? Because it does feel like.
Do you think you could be more aggressive?
Could we be more aggressive?
You.
How so?
In every way. I think at this point, just because I think guys like you who have been in this, who have been nice, or for example, Democrats who I know that there's some that have been nice, are not coming in with that Jasmine Crockett energy. I feel like there's definitely people that are not coming in with, and I think at this point, we know that the pendulum goes. We know that because of Obama, we got Trump. But because of Trump, we need to get someone on this side, and it needs to be somebody that's going to go and be like, motherfucker, what you talking about? Like, we need that energy, but 100%. Who's going to be that person?
100%. Well, look, I mean, I at some point, I got to introduce you to people I know in D.C. I mean, they view me as, I mean, I don't want to compare myself to Jasmine Crockett. I love Jasmine Crockett, but I'm pretty aggressive in terms of advocacy, and that's, I guess, my professional reputation. I don't think for me it's not a question of being. In fact, if anything, I'm trying to like tone down being aggressive because I'm being too aggressive with people. Like I'm frustrated. I'm impatient with my own, peers and people. And my boss will constantly be like, hey, cool it. No, I think we need to be more aggressive. Need to take more risks. I took risks. I mean, look, there was a day laborer. Some of you all might have heard about this guy, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He was looking for work at a Home Depot in Maryland. Because he was tatted up, he was falsely accused by an incredibly corrupt police officer who later, like a month later, by the way, pled guilty to having given confidential informant information to his prostitute. He was then picked up, brought into the station. They were like, whoops, you're not a member of MS-13. But because Maryland didn't have a sanctuary policy like California, they said, our mistake, we're not going to accuse you of being, criminally MS-13, but they deported him or tried to deport him. He then wins his immigration case, wins something called withholding of removal, meaning that he would face potential, threats if he was returned to El Salvador. So he's functionally legalized. He has work papers. He joins a union, and then he got picked up in that first big, alien enemies thing where they tried to deport a bunch of serious criminals. To your point of using that as an excuse, and he was swiftly deported. Isn't even the word. He was renditioned to CCOT, which is the biggest prison in the entire hemisphere, North and South America, in one of the smallest countries, El Salvador. No one gets out. It's life imprisonment. There's no due process. And this dude was fully innocent. And so here I am, I work with non-immigrants, people, doing plans for people. How do you prepare? What are the steps you can take? And I'm looking at Kilmar's case and I'm going like, if this guy doesn't get brought back to the United States, there is no immigration law in this country anymore. If someone could be legal and then essentially given life imprisonment in a black site in El Salvador, then what does it matter if you have DACA, TPS, a green card, and you're doing everything right? So you say aggressive. I mean, I went to El Salvador 3 times. I was detained by a 3-star general. We got Kilmar back to the United States. He's now facing trumped up, I guess, bad pun, criminal charges. I'm very confident that in the end, if he's given due process, he'll be free. But I mean, activists talk about put your body on the line. I mean, I was detained by a general. And
it was dangerous. I mean, I know that when you went out there, because obviously I know your wife, so I know how scared she was. I know how. Even, when I was out there, I was just like, yo, be careful, bro. Like, Jesus Christ, And then when you showed back up, I was like, that's your man. Like, to Marjorie, Like, I'm like, it is a big deal. But I'm just like, maybe, I guess what I mean is, can people like you take up more space? Like, for example, you said your boss tells you, tone it down. Who the fuck is your boss? Why is he telling you to tone it down? Tone it up.
No.
I said it, not you.
The boss, and see, now you're getting me like. See,
sorry.
Okay, no.
He didn't say that.
You should have him.
He didn't say that.
No.
Sorry, guys.
I got this good advice, man. From I don't know, maybe this is good advice for you, but I got this good advice from the spouse of a mentor of mine 20 years ago. Because I am aggressive. I'm a lawyer. I go and when I chop it up for the stuff that I work on. And the advice that I got once was, particularly when you're out and your job requires you to do battle every day and you're out like really fighting, and which I do. Mm-hmm. An important thing is to kind of take the armor off before you go home or hang out with your friends. Because sometimes like I'll be like, ugh, and then I'll come. And so I think when my boss is like, don't be aggressive with your
coworkers,
colleagues and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But
well,
like,
don't.
Go
I mean, I'm not telling you to fight everybody around you.
But it kind of bleeds out. It bleeds out because, and no, I don't know. I think I take up an appropriate amount of space. But I mean, the question is, what do we do? Like, I mean, like, we got to take more risks. That's for sure. But it's also a question. It's the same sense of like what everything feels so helpless. You can help one person get their mom, heart medicated, but what are you doing to underlie, the threat to Mexico? I mean, it's like the real trick is particularly people who, people who have platforms, people who have resources, institutions like mine. Where do you put your energy? Like when it all feels so helpless. And so when
I'm telling you, when you over here talking about the podcast and you was all getting mad, I'm like, I don't know what else to fucking do. Like, I don't know. We get on the podcast. Even, what would have to be is like more of a consistent thing. more of like it's not just like one podcast. It's like talking to different people, bringing in different
Let's
people,
do it.
maybe talking about different stuff. Because other than that, it's like, but also it's like, who the fuck am I? There's a lot of people that fucking hate me. But if you see, no, for real, there's a lot of people that we're talking what's it called, general.
No, you're
market people.
you're
You
a
feel me?
big person. Yeah,
you're more
I'm
in
a
the
niche
like
person.
politics
You're
people
up here, I'm down here.
and
yeah.
politics people are like, you know, they're not gonna go on the internet and be like, fuck this guy, you know, whatever. They who knows, they might have burners, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
But I don't think
I used to get death threats in Arizona. At least back then in 2010, I could call the FBI. I wouldn't call the FBI today.
that's what I'm saying.
So-
Back in the
so-
day, you thought there was at least rules.
No, but I mean, you know, just to have it out a little bit with you right now. The two reasons why I bug you to get on your podcast is, number one, because you have a built-in community of people that listen to you, and so it's like I'd rather talk to your audience than like whatever the NBC person I was joking about, you know. And number two, because I like the conversations that you and I have, especially when we argue, I think are generative and maybe kind of good for people to hear, and maybe good ideas will come of it. It's so those are the reasons why I bug you. I'm like, get me on the podcast. I mean, and you know, yes, more of it. I think, and because I think again, the hopeful thing of this time is that everything is being destabilized. Like, I mean, why is it that MSNBC has almost no Latina voices on ever? In fact, Fox News, I'm almost certain, has, you know, 3 or 4 times as many Latinos on doing all their white national shit than MSNBC has. That's a problem. But you know, now MSNBC is faltering, and you know, will that network could survive? And meanwhile, these types of shows are the new. You know, in the Democratic politics world, everyone's like, who can be the Democratic Joe Rogan? And where I'm saying, I've said this to Marjorie multiple times, I'm saying, going like, Snow can be the Democratic Joe Rogan. You know, you could be. I mean, I mean,
is there another word that's not democratic? Because it's just like
that's
Jesus.
but that's the point.
You know
whatever.
I know
you
what you're saying.
what I'm
I know what you're saying.
But and so that, I mean, I think that's it. It's the new shit. We're not gonna like, we're like fighting and losing yesterday's war with like while they're like doing a whole new war tomorrow, and we're still fighting and losing yesterday's war. So to me, it's like, you got to get on some new stuff, try some new things, and I really do believe that you know, I said this last time I was on the show, our organization has the expression solo el pueblo, salvo el pueblo, and by the way, Willie Chavarria is doing like, he's got a shirt that says that if you're rich you can buy, and the money will come for us. But the idea is, the leaders are not going to save the lawyers. The ACLU is not going to, you know, clearly the mayor of Los Angeles is not. It really, there has to be kind of new leadership, because the old leaders have failed. And I go to your shows, I see your fans, I see the young. It's like that, like our generation now needs to step up. And I don't know. I think
it would probably help. You know what? Now that I think about it, like if every podcast, regardless of who's on or what the fuck, if there's like a segment, then that helps, because then it's like, it's a constant. I guess that's what I felt. It's like sometimes it's like you do one and we just, but it's like, we need what? We need updates. We need to fucking know what we should be doing. Who should we be calling with? You know, this week, what's our homework? Okay, let's activate these people. What are we? You know, like kind of one band, one sound. Because at the end of the day, when we don't have that, everybody's just kind of like, what do we do? I've had a few people that call me and they're like, Snow, I want to help. How?
Exactly.
And then, you know, so everybody, like, there is people that even want to help. They just don't know where. And even with me, like, I find an organization that I think is dope. I'm like, okay, cool. Here's some money. Nowadays, I was telling him, I'm like, I can't even align myself with one specific organization, because the moment that somebody does something wrong or gets tripped up, now the whole thing looks fraud. And you're like, okay, well, fuck. I don't know what to fucking do, because especially in Latinos, and we know how we fucking are. We know how we are. There's more people willing to point fingers and say what someone's doing wrong than there is to fucking lift people up and try to do shit right. So at the end of the day, you know, sometimes when people don't feel like they can do enough, they definitely feel like they can hate on something.
Exactly.
So everybody's pointing each other down. Everybody's like a crabs in a bucket mentality.
Exactly.
And it gets so frustrating to have to fight your own fucking people, because sometimes, like, you're on the same team, but now we're here arguing like a third degree fucking random ass argument. I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't even want to talk to you. You know, so it's like, I don't I don't know what to do, but I know that at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, how do I paint it to these motherfuckers? Okay, humanity, right? Humans. These are people. Stop talking about how much money they bring in. But then again, we do need to talk about how much money they bring in. So it's like, so then you're like, okay, these are people. You wouldn't want to do this to people. Do you relate? Some people are like, no. Some people subconsciously, because they don't look like those people, don't see them as people. Look at what happened in Palestine. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. Look at what's happening everywhere. There are deaths every day of babies, humans, women, families, cities. And some people in the United States do not get that those are people.
That's it. I think that's the core of everything. I mean, that's the core of everything. And now there's so much suffering, and people themselves are suffering, and they say, you know, I'm indifferent to other people's pain now because I'm going to focus on my own pain. I'm going to focus on my own algorithms, my own mentions or whatever. I'm going to tune it all out. And to me, that's the big danger, is the dehumanization. And you can see that in a relationship between Palestine, guys at day laborers at Home Depots, homelessness. People are just kind of tuned out to other people's pain. And I think that's the core of everything, honestly. And so again, take care of yourself and then find some way to I don't know, find some common humanity with somebody, like somebody less fortunate than you. I mean, everyone's got some degree of fortune. Find somebody and understand their truth. And I think that's the way to start, honestly.
Yeah. But then that's the thing too, is that knowing how, because when you sometimes reach out to me, I think you're coming at me from like me being like a regular rapper and like doing all this stuff, like what Marjorie just said about paying the street vendors. Bro, I've been preaching that shit since before this whole shit even started. So sometimes you're right. I do forget about the basics. I haven't said it since. I used to say it all the time. I haven't said it because I thought it's common knowledge. But I guess, yes, let's say it again. You should be fucking tipping them more. You should be paying them. But even before this happened.
Exactly.
Before this happened, because a lot of people will go to their fancy fucking dinner, or they'll go wherever, corporate expense, some fucking shit, and then they'll go and buy a fucking hot dog, and then they'll get exact change, and they won't fucking tip them. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you tip for the tacos that you fucking got? Why wouldn't you tip for, we should be doing that normally. You should be putting the shopping cart back just because, just fucking try to be, because it starts to have a general practice of helping people
decency.
out. I've had decency. Yes, you're right. With the homeless people, with the homeless stuff that happens everywhere, bro, I understand. And the same way you are, a lot of times, yes, you give. It got to a point where, bro, I started noticing how hard. Every time that I see a person in the street that's Mexican, they're working, they're giving, they're doing, they're drawing. I've literally seen somebody outside of a Ralph's that was like, I'll draw you whatever you want. I was like, here you go, man. Because the willingness to do something, to me, is so much more worth being able to. I don't give a fuck if you're like, bro, you find this, you're like, do you not be like, no, it's okay, man, here you go. But just that I want to see people motivated to try to do something. Please, even $1, fucking 25 cents, whatever the fuck you have, you can try to help, try to do, post. Sometimes people point the finger. You're not posting enough. You're not this. You go to their page. You've never posted. You've never even grabbed a screen recording of a YouTube video, post that shit on TikTok. Maybe that might help. There's so many people willing to point the finger and not do enough, when it's like, you can do anything. Anything is better than nothing. While we wait for the actual instruction that Chris is going to give us. Let's go, Chris.
No, man, dude, start there, dude. Yeah. Long before Trump, I started working with day laborers. 50% of all day laborers have gone to work in the last 2 months and not been paid. That was before Trump, that's indecent to hire somebody and then, take advantage of them because of their immigration status and not pay them. I think, again, being decent is a good starting point. But to me, it feels like, and I know how ridiculous this will sound, but there is a kind of guerrilla warfare sense. They have all of the president, Congress, Supreme Court, machine guns. We're trying to coordinate amongst ourselves, but the coordination is not going to happen, anytime soon. There is no general from our side. There's no one we can even line behind. There's no leader, there's no common line. We're still fighting amongst ourselves among all these different little things. And so to me, in a guerrilla war, what you got to do is just kind of hold your own hill. And you're not going to coordinate with, there's not going to be some marching orders, but at least you can make sure that your neighborhood is good. You can check in on your neighbors. You can check in on if there's a fruit vendor that you buy from, if you work with a day laborer, a domestic worker, or whatever, somebody who is precarious, check in, make sure that they have a plan, make sure that you're part of their plan. Start with your own hill, put your own mask on for the time being, and then hopefully some strategies are going to come. We're filing. I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble. I mean, there will be big lawsuits filed on the raids in federal court tomorrow.
Thank God.
And finally, it's taken a while. I do think that I mean, the level of unconstitutional shit that's happening is so egregious. I mean, it defies, honestly, like the imagination. So I do think that the courts, even with the Supreme Court, will come in and do things. Things will start to become hopefully a little bit more clear. New leaders will emerge. Ideally, they won't be the old leaders, because clearly the old nonprofit lawyers, politicians, churches have failed us, obviously. But in the meantime, it's like tend to your own front lawn type of thing, I think. And part of that to me is, again, this really good advice that Ernesto gave me. The minimum you can do is bear witness. Don't fall into that trap of like, I'm not going to click on it, the bad news of whatever the most, at least you can do is bear witness and help out your local community and kind of start there. And I really do think that there's a lot more, whereas we're powerless in DC, obviously, we're not as powerless in the city councils where anyone might live. If you live in a place that doesn't have a sanctuary policy, dude, like you could be the next Kilmar. I mean, literally. Thankfully, if you live in Illinois, if you live in, Massachusetts, California, if you get wrongfully pulled over by a local police, at least they're not transferring you at that point when they fingerprint you to ICE. No such luck in Florida. No such luck in Texas. So, you can call your local politician. Your congressman's not going to, whatever, someone had asked about letters, they don't care. I mean, it's like there's such a wide gap between power that we have at the local level and the powerlessness we have at the federal level, but that's a smaller gap at the local level. So people should start to
do you think there's a way that Donald Trump leaves? I know California, he kind of has it in for fucking Newsom just because he fucking hates him, but do you think there's a way that states, for example, you saw what that fucking Alaska lady,
she got the deal.
She got the deal. So she was like, I'll vote yes as long as Alaska is cut out of this bullshit, which is some crazy shit. Like, you're like, okay, I'm gonna vote for the rest of the country to be fucked as long as Alaska's out of it. Do you think that there will be separation in states? Like, for example, is there a day where California kind of gets left alone? I mean, the fact that he's like federal funding for schools out of there, federal everything. So he wants everybody, all the states to take care of their own bullshit, but they don't. But he doesn't want to give us our own rights to do our own shit. Well, let us fucking leave.
I mean, the problem is
let us be our own country.
And again, I don't get in trouble with mutual friends. I mean, it is true that Newsom's running for president right now. And so he's like, it's like, I would prefer that Newsom would just like handle shit in California because he's obviously competent. He's a good communicator instead of like reading the tea leaves. It's no accident that Trump is sending all these ICE people from like Oklahoma into LA. Okay. Like they are 100% invading LA and trying to blackmail the state into kind of complying. And that is the battleground right now. And people around the country who think that LA is going to like handle this, I mean, jury's still out. So I think we have to hold things down. Part of what they're doing is trying to blackmail California into allowing ICE back into the jails. That's part of what's happening here. At some point, ICE, Trump, if they're being rational, they're going to say, we'll make the stop. We'll stop doing all the terrorizing raids if you just let us back into the LA County jail, if you just let us back into San Francisco jail, et cetera, because then they can get their numbers. And then now all of a sudden, all the police and sheriffs are working for ICE, because if you get a DUI or whatever, now that's also a deportation. And so it's going to be imperative that we stand up and defend California's sanctuary law and then try to spread those into other places. If you're not in California, talk to your local politician, about trying to make a sanctuary policy in your hometown. But no, there's the
But if they become just like California, then that means that they're going to keep on going just out there into the streets. If they can't get into the jails where people committed the crimes, then they're just going to continue going into people's homes and
Correct.
breaking shit. So at that
Correct.
point, are we defending? So we're not letting them get into the jails, but we're allowing them to get into the houses of the normal people.
Well, again, I could show you a video of a day labor center. They tried to get in, no warrant. They didn't get in. These guys had machine guns. They didn't get in yesterday. And so, no, people will have to defend themselves. But no, of course, people will be put at risk. But dude, all of this stuff is like from a scarcity standpoint. Yesterday, when I went to go visit the jail, I skipped the line because I'm a lawyer. And then I got her right before, 5 minutes later, there she was on a bus to Adelanto. I guarantee, just by having helped these two kids get their mom medication, somebody who was waiting out in line didn't get to see their mom.
Yeah.
It's like everything's going to be like zero. I mean, we just have to have the right fights, but we cannot have police and sheriffs be involved in immigration enforcement. That like 20 years ago, that was not the case. They got to keep them separate. And if we lose that, and again, that's their point, is they're trying to say, oh, you're going to put the grandmas in danger unless you hand over the criminals. But that if we lose on that, it's a slippery slope.
But what about the bodies that washed up?
Which bodies washed up?
The bodies that washed up.
Oh, in San Diego?
No, in Spain, that they're handcuffed and shackled, and there's suppression in the satellites around the time when the plane would have been there. So they're kind of like trying to like connect the dots and see what's going on. Is there a chance that might actually be a thing?
I don't know, dude. I mean, I can't. I mean, I didn't click on. I don't know the story, but I don't know.
I did, and I've been doing some digging, and unfortunately, that's what I'm saying. It's like I was shook today when I was looking at everything, reading it, listening. I'm like, if there is an off chance, by the way, legally, I'm sure we both can't comment on it unless we really know. But if there is an off chance that this happened, we're not even dealing with the same United States of America that we think we're dealing with. This is unprecedented. This is new. This was a scare tactic. They filmed them getting onto fucking planes. They left. They never made it. And now there's bodies washing ashore, handcuffed and shackled. I'm not saying, but everybody please look into it, because what the fuck is happening?
Well, I mean, again, you people make it, it's like the most dangerous thing is the Nazi comparison. But at some point, again, people become indifferent to other people's suffering and death. And it's just like, oh, that's just another whatever. And that's obviously happening. I mean, to me, among the things that drives me really bonkers about Democrats is the way they're kind of giving props. Oh, he's handling the border. No, he's not. There was never a crisis letting 3 million people into this country. The fact that the Democrats capitulated to that it really was no big deal, people. Like, honestly, the country...
Tell them what capitulated means.
Well, like kind of giving into that, because
Punked out.
Man, they're going like, oh, well, Trump might be doing good on the border, but he's bad with his M16s in LA. It's like, no, he's bad on both. People should be able to seek asylum in this country. People who are fleeing for their lives, who cross deserts and make it here, it's honestly no big deal for a country of X number of 100 million people to absorb 3 million refugees. We could have done it. Why the cowardly Democrats have sort of capitulated to this notion that Trump was right, that we should have sealed the border, that's a dangerous thing. I mean, so no, we have to like hold the ground that we have. It's going to be for the next 3.5 years at least 50 different immigration policies in this country. I mean, I don't know what tours are going to look like. By the way, Marjorie told me to get off my phone because it looks bad.
Oh,
so sorry, Marjorie. Giving better advice, Marjorie. But I don't know what are the tours going to look like in Texas? What are the tours going to look like in Florida?
I didn't go on tour this year precisely because I knew that, and that the people are the same people, right? That will be like, oh, that's not what's happening. Like if I'm like, oh, this could happen, they're like, that's not what's happening, so that'll never happen, blah, blah, blah. And then it happens, and then they're like, oh yeah, but that'll never happen. And I'm like, the reason that I get to think the way that I do and I think about what might happen in the future is the same thing that saved me right before COVID and I was able to fucking kind of survive as an independent artist is the same thing that right before this whole thing happened, I didn't go on tour. It's because there's fucking foresight. You don't see how things are happening. As a neurodivergent person, you see the patterns coming. Like there is a pattern recognition and you see where it's fucking going. You see the trajectory of it and you go, by this time, this is probably where we're going to end up. I'm telling you right now, the reason that my worry with the Mexico thing is because I'm looking at it and I'm like, hold on. So I'm trying to tell people before it even gets there, because by the time it gets there, it's going to be ridiculously, I don't even know what the fucking word is. It's like, it'll be, you can't put the worms back in the fucking can. You feel me? That's it. Like, and I think it would be.
Dude, if you're right, if you're right about invading Mexico, then we are really, really fucked. I mean, I'm just gonna like. I mean, I you know, you are.
There's just words they say. There's words they say that scare me, and if they can say things like sleeper cells about people, you know, from Iran and like what they got going on, what's to stop them from calling Mexican American sleeper cells? What's to stop them from doing that stupid shit? And if they ever fucking do, I suggest everybody starts getting ready because at that point it's like,
dude, they're already doing it with El Salvador. I mean, again, this is you know, I work for mostly Salvadorans, but again, for your crowd, you know,
the Mexicans,
Salvadorans.
No, I know because
you got Salvadoran fans too.
I know, but
whatever,
I'm just saying,
okay,
you're like,
okay, no.
You're for your crowd,
for your fans.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously people know that the United States had an incredible, terrible role in the Civil War that led to the, you know, refugee crisis for Salvadorans, which, by the way, Salvadorans and Haitians were, I've mentioned this last time, were primarily responsible for the 86 amnesty, which Mexicans primarily benefited from.
My dad.
But then MS-13, which has been designated a terrorist organization, is a street gang that was started in LA by the LAPD, then exported to El Salvador initially, destabilizing El Salvador. Then Obama, with his felons not families deportation policy, basically turned our prisons into universities for transnational gangs. We've been destabilizing El Salvador for decades by exporting U.S.-based street gangs.
But that's what they've been doing everywhere.
No, but especially El Salvador. El Salvador has a unique role right now, and I believe that the future of U.S. democracy and El Salvadoran democracy, the fates are linked. So we've been turning El Salvador into a metaphorical penal colony for decades, and now it's no accident that we're turning it into an actual penal colony with CICAT, literally talking about building, you know, huge mega prisons, and Trump is, you know, flirting with the idea of sending U.S. citizens there. But, and man, I don't know, you know, if you can find this link and post it on the chat or whatever, y'all should read the New York Times yesterday. Because here Trump, who staked his entire fucking presidency on saying that MS-13 is a terrorist organization, Salvadorans, et cetera, are criminals, he's cutting deals right now to send the very, like, sort of generals or whatever from those gangs back to El Salvador because they were about to testify about the role that the United States has had. This is not a conspiracy theory. It was in the New York Times yesterday, a bombshell article that probably very few people are clicking on. Democrats are so feckless and people give so little shits about El Salvador in general in this country that, you know, here you have the guy who ran against MS-13 is literally legalizing convicted MS-13 leaders, sending them to safety as a justification to then send what, janitors to El Salvador? And again, if Democrats had some kind of spine, if there was one Salvadoran member of U.S. Congress, and there's none, literally, if there was one member of Salvador in Congress, they'd be saying, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
But again, why do they have to be Salvadorian to understand what the fuck is going on? Why are they not saying anything?
Well, because it's not, because it's not happening, Snow. Like, because whatever Hispanic elite, Latino elite, Latinx, go down the line, Chicano, Mexican, like, it's like the Central Americans get the short stick, number one. I mean, to me, I mean, whatever, who am I? I'm a white guy from a suburb of Chicago, but identity politics makes sense when your community is under attack. Salvadorans are under attack in an amazing way. Part of the reason why Bukele is so popular is because finally it's like there's like some representation of Salvadorans in the United States, in the United States media. Minimally, there should be a Salvadoran member of Congress. I mean, again, you could disagree about identity politics and, we're going to divide. And
I don't. I was raised by a Salvadorian. My tia's husband is Salvadorian. My cousins are like where I was living. The reason that I was able to, my tia's here, literally was a Salvadorian man. I'm very aware of like what happens between Central Americans and Mexicans and Latinos. I see it on the internet. I see it every time that there's a Mexican flag, and I see whenever they do I'm Latina. Are you Mexican? No, I'm this. And then I see the comments and I literally say, stop bringing this up because the infighting that we're fucking having in this time right now, this is not supposed to be happening. There is such bigger fish to fucking fry, and you motherfuckers are sitting here arguing within each other, but it triggers both ways. I've seen, and it's just like, what are we doing? So it goes
100%.
back to trying to have one band, one sound, because damn, if we can't get black and brown people to get together right now, can we at least get Latinos? No, okay. Can we get Mexicans and Central Americans, since apparently there's certain Cubans and different people? No, all of them are fucking fighting. Everybody's arguing.
No,
and
that's
it's like,
true.
Please, understand. And that's the reason that I said it's happening everywhere. And as much as you're like, I know that it's happening in El Salvador, and I get it that is like a beacon right now to make sure that we have that conversation. But then you talk about Venezuela and you talk about every other. Because you're saying, the Mexican president, yeah, but she's lovely. Yeah. And there's been a lot of presidents that were very good for their fucking country and that were doing something amazing for their country. And that's exactly when they go for their fucking head.
That's
the main time.
No, that's true too. I mean,
when Obama went and dropped off all them fucking guns to people, You know damn well what happened. There's things I won't even talk about out of fucking fear because I go to Mexico so much. So what are we?
No,
Let the white guy say it.
I went down the whatever because it's and I've been to El Salvador a bunch lately, and I'm focused there. But I was actually making that point to agree with you, which is to say, they'll claim, the fear that they'll claim that Mexican gangs are somehow terrorist organizations or fentanyl is whatever as a justification for, is possible and probable. I mean, and again, I was using El Salvador as an example.
You are right in El Salvador being an example.
It's an example. And in that sense, El Salvador is like the ghost of Christmas future for all of us, because Trump is doing the whole Bukele playbook. I mean, they're both demonizing the same people. Bukele, incarcerated. The first thing that people say in El Salvador when I went down for Kilmar is, yeah, we'll help you with Kilmar, but you got to understand that there's at least 10,000 people in El Salvador in the same situation. And Kilmar shouldn't get more rights just because he was living in Maryland than, the guy down the street. There's 10,000 people that are in prison with no trial, no charges. The people's parents don't know where they are. And in that sense, I really think, you have now Trump exporting, whatever, this whole notion of turning it into a penal colony, and he's importing the political technique of President Bukele, who was wildly popular. 85% of people, were pro Bukele as of like a year ago because he's cool and hip and all that kind of shit.
But he's losing it.
He's losing it now, thank God. But in that sense, that's why I say I think El Salvador is kind of like the ghost of Christmas future for what's going to come in this country if we don't fight back. And it definitely is. I think it goes to your point of the risk that Mexico faces. You're not wrong I'm just hoping you're wrong.
I'm hoping I'm wrong too. For once, I'm really like, I'm hoping that I could just later on people be like, haha, Snow, you were paranoid. Okay, I will take that. Mm-hmm. The fear is if it is something that's happening. We've seen how they did it to the El Salvadors, the Venezuelans, all the countries in the Middle East, everywhere and anywhere in Africa. Like, we've seen what they've done, and we see what they're trying to do. And we see that anytime that there is a leader that is finally doing something for their country, nationalizing minerals, making sure that things, even there's things I can't even say. I'm like,
can I
go ahead?
I'm seeing a ton of Salvadorans in your chat. If I can just selfishly take a little
Shouts
bit
out.
of it's a quick shout out because a friend of mine, Ruth Lopez, who is the most prominent human rights lawyer in El Salvador, is currently in prison. She was at with the Senator Van Hollen, with Congressman Garcia. She was offering to help. She's like one of the most prominent human rights lawyers. She's currently being unlawfully imprisoned in El Salvador. I know people have differences of opinions with their tios among their own families about Bukele, but if anyone who's on social media could get active, her name is Ruth Lopez. She is a friend. She's a hero. She's a freedom fighter, and it's going to require support across borders to get her out. So, she has a hashtag, a saying that was famous, which is Que tenga decencia. That's a hashtag, and also Free Ruth Lopez is a hashtag. So that's just my plea for everyone to get involved and to learn about Ruth, because she's so fucking badass and courageous and has been fighting for years in El Salvador and is currently being falsely accused and imprisoned for stuff that she definitely did not do. Sorry about that.
Yeah. No, yeah. She said, "Fuck Sleep Vita" is a big fan that I've known for a while, and she said Salvadorian TikTok has a trend called Miedo a Que. Watch those videos and tell me those fools shouldn't be in there. There is two sides of it, right? Like the same way that he was saying, like there's a lot of people, there's false flags and stuff, and it's not the little kids. They follow suit. We also know our own. You know what I mean? So
Dude, 100%. Look. Okay, I know people in El Salvador that their own family members are in CCOT and they're happy about it because they feel safe. And I also know people that know that their family members are innocent and are in CCOT.
Yeah.
It's everything in between. And obviously no one should live in fear. But again, back up a little bit and just remember that this is a LA-based street gang that was formed by the LAPD, by the way, in the Rampart Division that was then sent to El Salvador. And so again, when you hear about like Chapo Guzman and Mexican drug lords or whatever, they're banking in like New York. They're banking in, Amsterdam or whatever. This is not,
they're being brought by Trump.
Of course. Again, read the article about MS-13. It's fucking bonkers that this guy who ran against MS-13 is literally dropping charges against some of their leaders as part of some kind of accommodation. But no, the idea that it's like that all these gangs, is like Coca-Cola like an American company or is it a global company? I don't know, but that's what we're dealing with for sure. But the thing about like in the short term, obviously Bukele brought down crime. No one's denying that. But he also arrested 70,000 people with no trial, no due process. And when you do that, at least some percentage of those people are going to be innocent. And that's what Ruth was saying. And then they locked her up too. And she's not saying release the bad guys or whatever. No one's saying that. But don't frickin', take Kilmar, like an innocent person, and then sentence him to life just because all of a sudden you're, accepting collateral damage. That's all that's being said for those that are.
Collateral damage is a big word, I think, as far as like before we end anything. It's like understanding that when people say collateral damage, whether it's arresting 70,000 people and some of them are going to be are going to be innocent and some of them are going to be not, but that amount that is innocent is collateral damage. That is like, those are human lives. Those are families. Those are parents. Those are dads. Those are brothers. It's like the same thing when we're talking about the people that are going to be locked up in these concentration camps, by the way. He corrected me and said not to say alligator Alcatraz. I've said it for the sake of people ask. For example, we talked about it, but still talk about alligator Alcatraz. Because if we talk about the concentration camp, they're going to think we're not talking about the same thing they're talking about. So you need to, in this day and age, really have that internet literacy to understand that you talk about this, they're going to think you're not talking about this because this is what these motherfuckers are making. So I guess that's what I meant by we need the pendulum to swing and 100%. We need the opposite of Trump. We need someone who speaks in small words to people that don't want to, like you said, capitulate. Don't say that shit because I don't know. They don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Tell them they punked out. Democrats punked out to certain things for the sake of being able to keep their fucking position. Don't say capitulate.
Okay,
Say it to all of them, but when you say no, you can say it to your business people and all that. But I mean, in the internet, to get your fucking point across, you're gonna need to talk to these motherfuckers a certain type of way because that's what they fucking need. The same thing with everything that we're saying here. Of course, they are concentration camps, absolutely. It is absolutely fucking dangerous. But also, let's talk about how stupid this fucking administration is to be inventing things that literally belong on Austin fucking Powers. Exactly. Didn't Dr. Evil have the sharks and the lasers? Is that next? He's going to do a sharks and lasers fucking thing? Like, we are literally living in a stupid-ass cartoon that is evil. The guys behind these motherfuckers are evil. Because sometimes I've heard people be like, oh, like, what if Trump went away? Well, then you're going to get the real face of the motherfuckers that are behind these people, which is going to be all these corporations and all the people that have vested interest in all these fucking jails and that eventually will be trying big pharma. Imagine these concentration camps and big pharma get together and now those people that are in there, they start testing things on. Imagine what's going to happen then.
No, I mean, we went from the black president to the white nationalist president. We had the little, Biden. Now we're back with Trump. The pendulum is going to have to swing.
They should have known Biden was going to do shit.
Well, listen, that's a whole other thing. I obviously agree with you on that. But but to your point, it's like what can we do in the immediacy to like be the ambulance, to do work, rushing to the gunfire as people are doing, and they're doing their best, and it is like taking a toll on people's mental health, and we should take care of each other and be decent. Like, we got to do the ambulance stuff, but we do have to build the hospital too. And like, how do we prepare for, right now there's no immigrant rights champions in government from either party right now. None, zero. And so hopefully there will be somebody, hopefully the pendulum will swing. It happened in Arizona. I mean, Arpaio was 85% popular when he did his concentration camp, and he was ultimately, convicted of crimes himself, later pardoned by Trump. Bonkers.
Crazy.
But so hopefully, if there's a hopeful kind of thing, it's like if we can get through calamity individually, collectively, we'll set the conditions to ask for more and not less on the other side. I mean, New York is a hopeful place for me, at least, with that politician that's emerged. But I think that's right. We need to have much more ambitious stuff. And I guess that was the point that I was making with my capitulation gate, which is like, we should not like fucking close the border. That is like the fact that we have now Democrats saying, oh, it was a good idea that we closed the border. No, it was not. No, it was not. It was definitely not a good thing. You're living in Tijuana or San Diego, crossing back and forth. Definitely not a good thing if you're an asylum seeker trying to like save your family. And so I wish people would just shut up in terms of kind of giving credibility to his build the wall thing, which again, 8 years ago, people were laughing at. And now all of a sudden people are like, oh, maybe he had a point with the wall.
What does that mean, close the border, though? I thought it was always closed.
Well,
right. Seemed pretty close when we be trying to come back.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ever since Clinton, and they started building fencing along the border, the strategy has been to build fencing and force people to basically die crossing the border. And the thought was they used something called, another big word, deterrence through enforcement, or enforcement through deterrence. And the goal was to make it so perilous, so dangerous that no one would potentially come. Basically, the risk would be so great that you lose your life coming.
Sharks and lasers.
Now, what Biden did, which was a good thing, he was just unable to explain it, was he toned that down. And people who came through, he did parole. And again, it drives me bonkers because Trump says, all these people that came through were illegal or whatever brought in. He vetted people who came, and for certain people, rather than having them take the perilous journey through the desert, they were paroled into the country, given and so in that sense, the border was open. Biden's not doing that anymore. Now it's like over. You can't get asylum in this country. And so the message and as a result, there are like less caravans, there's less people trying. The deterrence is working. But in order for deterrence to work, and the thing that needs to be understood is you have to basically impose the risk of death. I mean, at some point they are going to put like laser guns on the wall, and that's going to be the deterrence, because someone legally, if you're seeking asylum, you have to prove that you're fleeing for your life. So like what kind of a deterrence do you have to impose to stop somebody from taking their family who's fleeing for their life? It makes no sense. It's immoral. It didn't work. And so to the extent that people are saying the border is closed, it's because people are no longer being allowed to be paroled in when they come seeking asylum. That's essentially what it is. But it has always been, closed. It's just a question of what amount of policing we're going to do to keep it closed. And again, the whole strategy for Trump is whether it's to deter asylum seekers by saying you might die if you come. And then for people in this country, they're trying to get people to self-deport by saying, look, your life is, if you want to stay in the United States, this is something we've talked about offline, for the next 3.5 years, we are going to make your life so fucking miserable. You're not going to get education. You're not going to get access to scholarships, jobs. You can't go to the courts. If someone beats you, you can't call a cop so you might as well just self-deport. And that has always been the goal of the intellectual people behind Trump. They've never envisioned deporting 12 million people. It's physically impossible to deport with handcuffs 12 million people. The way in which they want to decrease the non-white population in this country is by making life miserable for the non-white population in this country.
So I think our country should fucking react, and that's why I'm scared that Mexico will, or our countries will be affected by this, because Trump and all his little fucking people that want all this white supremacy stuff to happen have frail egos and want everything for them and throw fucking tantrums. And when they're, let's say everybody does leave, right? Let's say we all fucking leave, fuck this place, we all go back to our countries, we all try to make our countries better, whatever. Then they'll want to go over there, right? And then we kick everybody out that's in our countries. We go, hey, all the white people that want to come over here, go make America great again. We go to our fucking countries, leave us alone. Then they're going to throw fucking tantrums and want to go over there and fucking try to bomb us or do some stupid like that's the problem. The problem is they want to close the borders, but they still want to take their little fucking MAGA hat and go to Cancun. They still want to go over there and buy land. They want to have a fideicomiso in Mexico. They want to go to other places and buy up all the fucking beaches. Jake Paul wants to fucking live in wherever the hell to get his tax deduction and then make fun of Mexicans, but act like he's fighting for Puerto Rico, but be a white man. At the end of the day, why don't we just fucking call it what it is?
Yep. Truth, dude. I mean, you didn't get to Mexico City. Condesa looks like Williamsburg, Brooklyn now, dude.
But even Brooklyn looks like fucking Brooklyn. Think about it. Think about what Brooklyn used to be. And the fact that we're talking about Brooklyn, oh, it looks like Brooklyn. No, Brooklyn shouldn't look like that. Brooklyn should look like Brooklyn used to look. It shouldn't look like that. So what's happening is they go everywhere and fucking try to just gentrify every single thing and ruin it and ruin the salsa and make it less spicy and ruin the culture and make it less fucking cool, corny up everything that we've ever fucking done. And then you get fucking Tom McDonald and Roseanne rapping stupid shit.
Yep.
That's what you get. You get people who fucking, at this point, bro, it feels like, all right, cool. You know what? You want this? Then have that. But leave this alone. We need like a big mom to come through to every country and be like, hey, all right, all y'all want nobody to live here. You want your own country? Bet. But leave these fucking countries alone. Don't go over there throwing your fucking tantrum. Don't go over there trying to buy up all the land and take advantage of shit. Get out. Y'all live here. We live there. Everyone have their fucking beautiful beaches and their beautiful stuff. And you keep Florida and your fucking alligators. And stay the fuck out of everybody else's country. Okay? Jesus Christ. Y'all need me as a mom.
Snow. Going Marcus Garvey.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
All right.
¿Qué es eso?
I mean, that's just...
I'm just joking. No, but if it's like, it's almost like that's what pisses me off is that it's like they want it both ways, right? Close the border, but we can go over there, but you can't come over here. We'll make your life miserable. We'll make your children's life miserable. We'll say that birthright is not really your birthright because you weren't allowed to, but we're allowed to do this. But Trump wants to go and fucking buy the fucking Riviera Maya and freaking build his hotels everywhere he wants to. He wants to build a hotel. No, you love Florida. You love California. You love fucking America. Live here.
No,
leave everyone else alone.
But this is why to get to where we started, we got to hold
stupid ass Stephen Miller.
Oh, that motherfucker!
Stop watching Latina porn because I know you do, you fucking dickhead.
The man needs real help, but we can't. LA has got to hold it together, and it's again on the one hand, it's like we got to keep these guys, kick ICE out. ICE out of LA is the hashtag for all of it. They have to get out. We have to hold our laws, and then hopefully on the other side of it, maybe then we can have a conversation about why it is that LA, Hollywood is inequitable. I mean, maybe we can make there is a way in which you could have a positive thing. If we can hold LA, which I believe we will do, we are going to get ICE out. It's going to be a while. People are going to suffer. We're going to make positive law. We are going to kick ICE out of LA. If we can do that, then maybe we can do something about your business too, which,
What business?
Show business.
What? Fuck my business. What the hell? I don't give a fuck about that shit. If I don't go on tour anymore, that's the thing. I feel like your organization, I know you're not going to call out any fucking names, but I know your organization has reached out to so many fucking Latinos before. Do you remember when we were saying don't vote Trump in? And all y'all organizations, all of y'all fucking people that know damn well that a lot of artists that could have had people vote, that could have spoke up, that could have said something, they said no to you. Did you call that shit out? No. Everybody fucking played the nice role, everybody whatever. Who do they end up relying on? The stressed out fucking bitch that people already don't want to fucking give opportunities to. Who's talking about Palestine? Me. Who's going out there, Black Lives Matter? Me. Who's going out there talking about the Florida when everything was going on in Florida? What was going on with Arpaio? What's going on here? Me. I'm going out there stressed out. And then when people go, snow never blew up. Snow never had a hit. Snow crashed out. Snow is not... Yeah, me. I don't fucking have it because guess what? I'm the one always showing up and trying to fucking talk. I'm tired. Meanwhile, everybody gets the benefits. Everybody still gets to do their fucking concerts, their big shows, their big everything. Nobody calls them out because they're too scared of their CEO or their manager or somebody else or somebody in the industry. Nobody gets called out. There's no accountability, and that's why there's no change. Because just like the Democrats, people capitulate. I did it. I used it.
I don't know why no Trigo Nada or is not on the radio right now. That's my point.
Your wife knows how radio
you
works.
Pay to get on there.
Well, come on, we gotta,
I don't have money.
Yeah.
I don't have money. That's what people don't understand.
Fucking great song.
I don't have the money to do what people need me to do, to make the record happen, to pay this $100,000 on, to be on the fucking... Why? Because I became the girl who has been blacklisted, too edgy. I don't get the endorsement. Your wife handles my fucking... She knows.
I'm looking.
I don't get the offers. I don't get the endorsements. I don't get any of that. Guess who they do give it to? The safe people that told you no. The safe people that didn't tell people to vote. The safe people that go out there and pretend like everything's okay. Oh, I'm so sad. And then they just continue to go and take all the fucking money for the Latino dollars, all the fucking pesos, all the everything, absolutely benefit financially from the United States. However, they will every fucking turn not look at what our fucking people are going through. That's why I said, I don't care if I don't go on tour anymore. No, I don't care.
No, I see. This is what I'm saying. I guess maybe this is underlying our disagreement, if it is one. I'm just saying that old order is crumbling.
It's still
crumbling.
Here.
No, it's crumbling. It's crumbling.
Thanks,
and
Chris.
the pendulum
I appreciate it.
It is. And you're going to come out stronger. And again, I don't want to call you Democratic Joe Rogan, but more people will, at the end of this thing, look, dude, when you started, not when, because you've at various times, but when you started calling out Trump more forcefully, I'm sure you lost fans. Okay? I'm sure
I've been losing fans before I ever met you,
okay,
Chris.
My point was, yeah, for sure.
Always because from the BLM to the freaking from everything, when you say those things, you get suppressed. I have 3 million followers. There's times if I don't post at all, I'll tell you right now, if I don't post at all, and then all of a sudden I post something because the algorithm knows especially on Instagram, I'll get 400,000 views, right? On something.
Okay.
The more I post about all these things, I'll go down to 15,000 views on my stories.
Okay.
So understand that you're that person, and then somebody will be like, oh well, these people will only give you an endorsement if you show us your numbers. My numbers are suppressed as fuck. I'm not getting those fucking deals. When I'm not getting those deals, and I'm not going on tour, and I'm not going on the radio, and all my numbers are suppressed to promote my songs, my career is fucking low because I'm posting the things that I'm supposed to post. So every time that you guys ask me, Snow, give us more, Snow, more, show up for free, give us money, do this, I do it with the bare little bit that I already have. When these motherfuckers are making millions and seeing the millions of views and the endorsements and everything, and they're not doing anything and they're not getting and then I look like a hater when it's like, do you not see? So then I'm just like, you know what? I'm just not even going to say nothing.
My point is, all I'm saying is I see, and maybe I'm wrong, and you know better than me.
You're a hopeful white man.
I'm hopeful, but I'm not optimistic. But like, I just think that you'll lose fans, but the old order is a way. You were way ahead of everyone doing your own production, owning your own shit. And now it's like, you could look at it that way, but I just think that the forward looking, there's going to be all kinds of new opportunities because the old way is not working.
It just hasn't caught up yet.
It will though. It will. And yeah, you'll lose fans every time, you speak up on something because, you can't please, but you'll gain more fans for just
I get
being
that, but
you because people, as a fan of yours,
losing racist fans is probably
it's
fine.
not
but
just
people
that.
like your authenticity. People like your courage. People like your smarts. People like the fact that you process
I don't
shit.
want to make it about myself though. Look,
but it is.
It's about the system we live in. I'm not talking about just losing fans or not. I have the amount of fans I have right now. Thank you very fucking much. I love you guys. I don't want to make it about at all whether I need more fans or not. I love you guys. I thank you for the support. You have given
Great
me
fucking
an
fans.
amazing life that I have right now, that I can be able to pay my brother, pay my cousin, pay my family to be able to work. We work together, and now baby Drew's working with us. I deal with what I can, right? I put the air mask on, or whatever you said, on me and on my family, and then I do whatever I can. I completely understand. What I'm explaining is how the system is, how social media works, how the music industry works, how this all fucking works. You know that the moment you speak up, people start being like, oh, that's dangerous. Don't do that. You speak about Palestine, they shut you up. You speak about this other thing, they shut you up. The algorithm doesn't like certain things. It starts to suppress you. So then when you're suppressed, when you drop a song like No Traigo Nada, which I do believe is an amazing song,
Fucking amazing song.
instead of it going out to 400,000 people, it goes out to 15,000 people. And that's it. And out of those, you piss off 7 of them. So that's what really happens. I could be out here making a little whatever type of fucking song, but I'm doing things because this comes from my heart. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm saying. I hate that it is such a 3-pronged thing where it's like I'm suppressing these things, but I'm doing the right thing. But then whenever people want to compare me to people who are more famous, I don't get to call out those people and be like, I know for a fact that these people fucking got asked and they didn't
Me
help
too.
and they didn't give a fuck.
I should name names, but Marjorie pays the mortgage in our house, and I can't.
So you
I'm
know
not
how the
paying the
music
mortgage.
industry works.
I do know how it, but I know.
So
enough
you're
to know
saying that it's changing while at the same
Okay,
time.
so let me just give you
wait,
my-
no, look.
okay.
At the same time, you know damn well that the music industry works like that, because the same way I don't want to get you in trouble, I don't want to get Marjorie in trouble, I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So I hold all that shit myself, and I know that shit suppresses my shit. And I literally sit there and I go to these fucking events. I went to one yesterday. What? Mariah Carey was there. Freaking K1 was there. Freaking how many? The Fuerza Regida was there. Everybody that was there. Cuco was there, which is why he's going to do the podcast on Thursday. We're all sitting there in the same fucking rooms. The people are telling me the same fucking thing. Snow, you a fucking real one, man. You've been doing this shit for a long ass time, man. I can't wait till the day that one day in the future, someday, you're going to finally one day see. But nobody does anything. Nobody says anything. Nobody does. Nobody. It doesn't matter who. I've met some of the most famous fucking people that you could think of, and they literally will be like, Snow, you've been a real one, man. You've been talking about this shit forever, man. That's fucking dope, man. Good shit, man. Appreciate you. One day, man, you just wait that one day. And then they walk away. That one day is gonna one day fucking come. Fuck y'all. I don't give a fuck about that one day. I don't care about the carrot. I don't care about you fucking telling me one day. I don't care. I keep speaking, I keep talking, but just don't don't be surprised the day that I'm not here no more.
Oh no,
not dead. I'm just saying, like, rapping.
Nah.
And that people go, whatever happened? And then I'm just gonna make that phone call and be like, yeah, you fake ass motherfuckers, here's all the names. And then boom, I disappear.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Look, dude. Look.
This guy.
The tortoise beats the hare, and you got great fans. People love you for your authenticity. You have a great body of work, and at some point the big deals will come in. At some point the algorithms will shift, and the very things that were being used as algorithmic suppression or whatever, shadow banning, will go the other way, because by the end of this 3 years, to this pendulum point, shit's going to be swinging the other way, and people are going to be looking not for like whatever I'm not going to name any names or whatever. People are going to be looking for new leaders, new vibes, new all of it. And you've been there all along, and you've been ahead of everyone on all this stuff. So again, it's glass half empty. You trying to get in, or?
Well, I'm just saying that, I mean, the whole like future one day, the reality is that every day that you're spreading like the message, the good message is like you're changing people's lives every day. Every day you might be like changing people's minds a few at a time. So that's not about one day. That's about every day you're doing it.
But I try, but the same way that motherfucker, y'all be telling me like, stop arguing on the internet or whatever. I'm like, I've tried to change people's minds. And guess what? I eventually ended up having to fucking block some of them, because I was just like, I thought I was there.
Yeah. No.
You know, you're there and you're like, look, listen, blah, blah, blah. And it looks like they're agreeing. And then you're like, and then they're like, no, Trump. And you're like, oh, fuck. All right, whatever. Bye. But then eventually they start getting really aggressive and abusive and talking shit and be like, yeah, you fucking dumb Democrat, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, first of all.
Yeah. Well,
You
I
know?
guess because when you're trying to change one person's
Yeah.
specifics mind, it's a little bit risky. But if you do, then yeah, that's
Punch
good.
up.
But
Don't punch. Don't get out of the comments and punch up and that's the way. Always punch up. Always punch up and
We're going to break the glass ceiling.
there's no.
Hey,
We said this last time, dude. There's no roadmap for you. You're paving a road that others are gonna follow. Okay, like that's it was true with Jenny. It's true with you. Makes it harder. There is no methodology. There's no sort of playbook that you can do that you can follow and I'm going to get on whatever MTV jams or whatever.
No, I gave up on that. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I'm not looking at it from that day. I don't think that day is what I'm looking at anymore. I'm not looking for the carrot that everybody's like, or that I'm going to magically one day be on the radio or whatever. I don't believe in the industry anymore. Like I don't.
Yeah, I don't think they're ever gonna be like.
I don't believe
and I
in
don't think
this.
they've ever been like, hey, this person has been saying all the like things that help people's lives. Here's their song on the radio. Like
Yeah,
they're
no,
just that's
they
just
don't
not
fucking
the
care.
reality.
No.
It's
That's
never
not where we
happened.
live.
It probably it won't happen.
It won't happen.
They're not like, oh, this is the best person I know. Uplift them. Like I don't think so.
That's what I was saying. It's like people know. It's not like they don't. People in very important positions in the music industry know. They could, with one fucking move, with one call, do something right. Place that particular conversation in front of millions of people. But that's not what they're gonna do because their bosses are gonna tell them no.
But
So everybody's watching their job.
models are changing, hopefully for the better. I don't want to keep like hyping Joe Rogan, but this motherfucker was a bad comic. He ended up doing a terrible TV show called whatever that show was, Fear Factor. Imagine being his friend at that time. Do you think he was feeling like life is going good? I'm like putting, boxes of, spiders and people's whatever. And now that dude is like bigger than Oprah,
Yeah.
like,
We watched him when he used to get like 30,000 views on his fucking podcast.
Okay.
Like literally when I first started rapping. The thing is that is a white man.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
That is a white
he's
man.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
You feel me? He's a white man with the fucking working out in the time when red pilling and fucking alpha male and alpha brain and fucking, the gorilla fucking dumbbells that he fucking sells and the monkey pills that he sells too. And I know his whole fucking story because this is exactly the red pilling that has happened to America. That's exactly what happened to my son's dad. Like, I understand why he worked. And that's why, what's his name? That other one, the Democratic version of him, the other dude, the
There is,
Piker.
Son Pike.
Yeah, him.
I don't know who that
He
is.
might be. Yeah, he might be. Go on
Okay,
his
but this
fucking-
guy he caught a white nationalist wave with Trump, and he's riding that wave. I'm saying at the end of these 3 years, as long as there's no calamity, no nuclear wars, no invading of Mexico, people are not going to be tuning into Rogan no more.
You
They're
think
going
we're
to be
gonna
looking for
here
other
3
shit.
years? Do you see the United States existing in 3 years?
I don't know. I mean,
There's a percentage. There's a chance that it won't exist as we see it.
Oh, I think that's a very high chance. Like a very like I think
He hasn't even-
I don't think it's for I really think it is not.
He's been in
So
what,
does
6
that
months?
answer
He
the
already started a
question that
war.
Somebody asked at the beginning. Lucia said, "Is this a safe time to apply for citizenship?"
If you have a green, okay, look. So these are the questions I wanted to answer. Maybe I come back.
Go ahead,
and I
go
gotta
ahead.
learn how to like look at the camera because Marjorie says
Go ahead.
I'm looking at it all over the place. Okay, make sure you have a good immigration lawyer. A lot of immigration lawyers are not good. It's one of the more taboo things in my world that people can talk about. There's a lot of these immigration lawyers that are, honestly, they're charlatans. So make sure you have a good immigration lawyer. The good ones cost some amount of money, but make sure you have it. If you have a green card and you're eligible to naturalize, you should definitely, I think, talk to your lawyer and do so with all due haste. They're trying to close, to your point earlier, all of the different windows of routes to status. And so if you do have an opportunity for status, you should make sure you talk with the lawyer and do things as quick as possible because, things are moving so quickly. And the amount of doors that were open that are slamming shut right now are closing really quickly. If you have an undocumented member of a family, you should definitely have a plan in place for some type of arrest or apprehension. Part of that would involve downloading something called a G28 form. If you Google it, it's called G28, and just getting the information required for the signature page, so that if and when someone's in detention, you will have more likelihood to be able to get a lawyer in to stop the deportation. Because the whole name of the game, which I should maybe back up even further, is if you find yourself arrested by immigration or whoever these people are, they engage in all kinds of psychological games to get you to kind of sign away your rights. You need to not sign anything, not say anything against your interest, and hold as long as you can if you have a family member that will come and get you represented by counsel. Because even despite everything going on, there are ways to slow and even stop some of these. I had a fly in my mouth, man.
What the?
Yeah, dude.
Ernesto.
What the? Ernesto went
You
in his
mentioned
mouth.
Ernesto earlier. I think you were talking about a different Ernesto, but
Oh my god.
Yeah, you know what's crazy too?
That's our
When
Ernesto.
we do our know your rights thing for day laborers on street corners, we have a thing that says in boca callada no entra moscos, as a way of remembering not to speak up. Like once you're arrested, shut up. In boca callada.
En boca callada no
entra
entran moscos.
No entra moscos. So if you remember that one, because again, they'll say like, no, you're going to make it worse for you and your family. Keep your mouth shut and wait for someone to come in for help, assuming you have the means and family that are going to come and try to, because otherwise they're going to say, we'll get you out to Mexico or wherever tonight. If you want to fight it, keep your mouth shut, have a plan in place, have a G28 on file, and definitely find a good immigration lawyer. And that goes too, and I know Marjorie's going to do something for musicians, because, we were talking about this a while back. Julian Alvarez had a sold out show at Cowboy Stadium and didn't have his, visa, straight. So have a good, everyone should have a good immigration lawyer. Make sure that, you're working with somebody reputable. Check sources, check referrals. Don't just take someone off the yellow pages. Especially the good ones are all pretty busy right now. So,
so does that leave us not so hopeful?
Yes, it's a safe time to apply for citizenship with a good.
If you currently have a green card and have a lawyer you can trust, the answer is yes.
So is there a directory that, like, how do you know who a good lawyer is? Like, they all talk, they all just like.
I mean, you Google them. You do a little bit of due diligence. Try to find somebody who worked with somebody and did a good job. A big question for a lot of people is one that Abby is asking right now. Trump has said that he's going to try to take citizenship away from children of immigrants. That is the one thing that I'm almost positive he will not be able to do, even with the Supreme Court. The most recent decision, and there's terrible reporting on it because all the newspapers said, he won in this interim stage. The case that the Supreme Court recently decided was not about birthright citizenship, but it was about just the way in which judges can do injunctions. So the actual birthright citizenship plan that he has to take away and strip citizenship has not been yet adjudicated by the Supreme Court. It is inconceivable. If we lose that case, we do not have a democracy anymore. The 14th Amendment of the Constitution is very clear. If you're born in this country, you're a citizen. If Trump succeeds in basically erasing the 14th Amendment, then that would be the time to think about, finding a life raft to some other place. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's imperative that people who are kids of immigrants stand up and be like, my citizenship is not yours to take away to Trump. And it's not something you want to leave in the hands of the lawyers.
You think he cares what we say?
No, but I think democracy works in strange ways. And I do think that movements matter. And when you don't have power in Congress, I do think, large amounts of protests do have an impact and public opinion and the like. I believe in that. I believe that democracy comes from the bottom up, and I do think that expressions of protest and social movement does have an impact. 100%. That is one thing that if I have to believe in that. And if you don't, it's then it is a nihilistic. I mean, maybe and again, that's a matter of faith. I know, or whatever.
I was just thinking we need to bully him.
Well, I'd like to see that too.
We need to just, that
I'd like
man
to
with
see
a
that too.
fucking ego and his stupid parade.
Like to see
and
that too.
Stupid tiny hands.
And
That's why he
his-
hates Newsom, huh? Because his girl wanted to hug him. Damn.
Well, I mean, that whole stuff, honestly, yeah, that's a different podcast, man. Newsom, I don't want to get in trouble, but we could do better. We could do better.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even in California, I feel like when this whole thing with the crimes and everything was going down and people are getting let out and you could steal and you could do all these things and what the hell, and then the cops ain't even showing up. I'm like, bro, what the hell is happening for a place where we pay as much taxes as we fucking do? Jesus Christmas. But anyway, I mean, look, even though it's not looking great, just know there is people out there. Right.
Wrap it up. Stuff.
No, I feel like there's still
Solve
people
the-
out here working, y'all. There's people out here working for no, I mean you work
You
tirelessly,
too.
even though we can argue within ourselves, but like at the end of the day, we really like it's arguing the what will work and what won't work, right? That's it. As far as like what we want to do and continue to do because it's in our heart to do it. I think it's important. I think, like I said, it's not going to be just one podcast that's going to happen. It's going to be multiple. It's going to be reaching out to different people, different conversations, constantly having it in people's face, constantly giving people maybe not necessarily instructions, but like options of like what you can do so that we narrow down. Because everybody, especially if you're neurodivergent, if you have ADHD, bro, there's so many fucking options that at some point, it's like when I go out to eat with my girl, there's so much on the menu that I'm like, please, help me narrow this down because my brain doesn't want to do so much thinking. If we can narrow down the options, I don't want to tell you what to do, but narrow down what we can do right now, who we can call, what we could do, what we can, anything, cool. Then that's what we'll do. We'll put it on the website. We'll just keep on continuously putting this out there for you guys. And anything I could do, obviously, I always welcome him to call out my bullshit and be like, yo, Snow, now. I'm like, all right, fuck you. So to me, I'm like, that's what putting our egos down and being able to have these conversations, and continuing the momentum is what.
But when in doubt, don't hate on somebody who's doing something either, because it's like I'm at the point where it's like anyone who's trying some shit right now, as long as you're doing something, it's like. Man,
we need it all.
We need it all. And in Arizona, back in the Arpaio days, we used to have so many different conflicts with the different groups and the different interests and stuff like that. And the way Endelon dealt with it was whoever was taking the bigger risk in doing something, you would just have to defer to that person. If someone's taking a risk to do something, if they're taking a risk by like shutting down the 101, well then so be it. Don't sit there now and have like coffee and lattes and be like, oh, was it wise to cut down the 101 or whatever? Like people are taking risks. We at least have to get behind the people and just be part of the do something caucus, man. Because it's the do nothing people that I know frustrate both of us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's okay to take breaks sometimes. It's okay to do and then do, like take a little bit of rest or whatever so that you can be able to push forward, make some calls, do whatever. If you do a little bit every day, if everybody does a little bit, we'd be fine. The problem is so many people choose to do nothing. So then the pressure's on the people that have to do something and now everyone's burning out. But if you really want the country to at least have a fucking fighting chance, everybody has to do a little bit of something. And by the way, you don't have to absolutely agree with every single fucking thing. But the fact that there are some shots that they're taking at democracy right now that you might not see why it affects your life directly but it's going to affect you somewhere down the line.
Wait, I'm gonna get in trouble.
Oh. By the way, we found out Ernesto's a fucking Republican. Trying to shut him
He
up.
tried to silence
He's
him.
MAGA.
What's
Ernesto's
Ernesto?
MAGA. We're going to start killing Ernesto.
What's
No, the
Ernesto?
flies.
Oh shit. Okay, well
We call it Ernesto, but
Okay.
we're going to kill him from now on. Every
you guys
time
can
we
get-
see him.
Get these
Well, he was a
shirts.
maggot.
That was a bar. God damn. Sorry. You get it?
I killed her.
I know, but that's what I'm saying because he said he was a maggot.
Oh. Well,
Wow.
I killed them, So,
Yeah,
hey,
you
you're
did
welcome.
it.
You're welcome.
You chewed him up and spit him out.
You can get these at Endelon's website, the Day Labor Network, and that way, the money will go for
Period.
legal representation, and then you'll wear the message.
Period.
Which, so and we have
I'm gonna
other,
wear it.
we have other cool shit.
You didn't kill him, by the way. He's still shaking.
Coming now. Boom.
Fuck yeah. Hey,
Yes, my
they're going to
son-
take
my
this
son
as
will be mad.
symbolism and now it's going to be crazy.
Good.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
See,
Be bold.
aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, good. Take that shit. Yeah. That's what we need. We need that energy.
Yeah, it's
We'll link it.
Okay, yeah.
Link it. No, I'm saying say it. So we
Oh,
can-
Day
you
Labor
mean-
at Day Labor Network on Instagram.
NDLON.
NDLON's the name of the organization. And we're giving them basically, if you go to a protest and you see us, like if you see the Day Labor Band, Los Jornaleros del Norte, every Thursday at La Placita, by the way. So 2 days from now, the Cadetes are going to be there. We meet up, I think, at around 4:00 in Placita. There's a concert. The Cadetes and Los Jornaleros del Norte will be there. And then we'll walk over and do a serenade at the detention center. And if you go, we sell these shirts there at cost. So like whatever you can, $5 or whatever, you can get one of those. I'll be there with my kid, Placita Thursday, the Cadetes, and the Day Labor Band. And then we go over to B18, which is the Metro Detention Center on the other side of the 101, and we play music for the inmates. And they're very great events. So if you're in LA, come to that, and you can get your shirts there for almost free, or you can get them on the website. And then and again, the place that I work at Endelon, I can say I'm biased, 20 years working there, but penny for penny, we put our money to use as good as any organization out there. Nonprofits have their flaws, but we're out there and primarily putting money right now into legal defense. And then some affirmative legal strategies as well. Thank you.
Period. No, of course. And we're going to do more stuff, y'all. I'm going to keep talking to him. Even off camera, I think some of our conversations are probably going to be things to just make sure nobody gets in any trouble and stuff. And we'll continue. This is going to be a long fight. He thinks that the United States will still be around 3 years from now. So it sounds like 3 years. I'm like 3 years. Hey, we're all here. I mean, it's no time to take bets. So right now, let's just pray. You're absolutely right. And keep this shit going. And every single fucking day, we're going to try to do something. Everybody do a little bit of something. These shirts, I will help promote, and we will buy a bunch, and everybody just needs to do a little bit of something. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. And Chris, you're invited all the time. We don't got to argue about it. You could just show up. You could show up to the Twitch stream. We could have a fucking, you know what I mean? We could have the beans in the chat, which I don't know if you can say, but I'm sure you're going to get in trouble. Yeah. If he starts saying beans in the chat, they're going to be like, oh. But he doesn't know what we're talking about, but I'll let him know. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. And we're out. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for all you do.
Esa niña no se aguanta. Quiere todo porque el pussy sabe a Fanta. Si la dejas por pendejo se te casa. Dale todo, 2 de lengua y una horchata. Si te alcanza, I'm the shit, huh? Are you catching what I'm throwing for a pickup? Same bitch I always was, now I'm just richer. I'm about to shake it up, bitch, check the Richter. This a sticker. You say some things your numbers don't say. I got some kids with toys that don't play. Kilo de azúcar pa' mi conflakes. I don't need roses, pour me rosé. No soy santa, baby, yo soy vale madre, faca chancla. Lo que yo sí tengo mucho a ti te falta. Y si quieres yo te enseño con el ram pa pa pam, ram pa pa pam pam. No soy santa, baby, yo soy vale madre, faca chancla. Lo que yo sí tengo mucho a ti te falta. Y si quieres yo te enseño con el ram pa pa pam, ram pa pa pam pam. Don't try to play me, baby. I'ma meet you acana, which means I've been a Mexican snack and I'll split your banana. Solo yo sé mi rollo guayaba, también sácate cana. Me encanta la línea de Fanta porque nadie me aguanta. Por eso I've been on my grind, I've been on my grind. It's been cold and I've been on, but my name's Snow. I got it and it's ice on my chest. You can suck a paleta if you hate. Aquí se respeto, te empaco maleta por güey. No soy santa, baby, yo soy vale madre, faca chancla.